What's up everybody, it's Dr. Winters, and guess what? It's getting a little hot out here. That's right, it's about to be summer and I'm sweating. No, seriously, does anybody have any good antiperspirants you like? Let me know down below. That being said, you know what else makes me sweat is some of these videos that you guys are tagging me in, because some of them are a little wild. Oh, and also I'm trying to get to 10 million to get this dang bracket off my tooth that's been in there for 3 years, and I can only do it without your help. Because once we hit 10 million, the bracket comes off and we see if there's a yellow square left underneath. Alrighty, oh, we got the rubber bands of doom. Yeah, no, those are pretty normal stuff that you see there. Obviously, you know Loki, and then he puts the band on. Okay, so what we've got here, these are our spacers, okay? And so the thing is like, if we want to wrap something around the tooth like that metal band, we need some rubber to put in between there. So we actually used to do this back in the day, especially for like expanders. Still, you probably see this. We don't use those metal bands as much. And by the way, if you get braces and you're getting these bands out the gate, you're probably with an old orthodontist who is old and about to retire, because not very many people do this. We just glue the brackets on now. That being said, if you are getting an expander or something, a lot of those times they do still have some bands in there to keep it stable and stuff, so that's pretty normal. Either way, weirdly enough, these are very painful. It's kind of the same way that when you first get your braces, they start to get sore and stuff. Well, you put it between your teeth, it feels like you got a popcorn kernel stuck between there, and then all of a sudden those teeth get super sore for about a week or two. But then they push those teeth away, so you've got some space to then put a band down in between there, and they actually work pretty good. That being said, they are for a lot of people the not so fun thing they had to do during braces. And so you got Taylor right there, the very first one. Spacers hurt. Yeah, they do, but luckily it is kind of something that just lasts long enough. It's not like terrible, but it is like you feel like you got a really bad cavity back there, but you really just don't. And then G says, most traumatizing experience of my life. I get it, you guys don't like the little rubber bands that go in between your teeth. I get it. That is funny, because I think I've had more complaints over spacers than I have braces or anything else that we do, weirdly enough. That being said, like I said, most people don't have the band, so you're probably not going to get this in your braces journey unless you need an expander or some type of a device like that. And if you do, it's only temporary. It's not that big of a deal.
I've had 4 root canals, 30+ cavities, and 1 extracted tooth in the last 7 years. Try and beat my record.
You know, I would get mad at her, but guess what? I also had a lot of cavities whenever I was a kid.
I know friends and family that don't really brush their teeth, eat sugary foods all the time, and they go to the dentist and they have nothing wrong with them. But I am unfortunately not one of those people. I take good care of my teeth, and yet I go to the dentist, and there's always something wrong with that.
And what if I told you it's not your fault? Because the problem with oral disease is it's not because of the sugar. It's not because of your brushing or not brushing most of the time. It's the bacteria in your mouth. We all have this thing called an oral microbiome, and it's comprised of good bacteria and bad bacteria. And the bacteria that causes cavities specifically is called S. mutans. Some people have it, some people don't have it. So you can eat whatever you want and not get cavities if you don't have it. And if you do have a lot of it, well, then you can clean as much as you want, and there's still a high chance you're gonna get cavities. And how did you get it, my ass? Well, you got it passed down from your parents. Your parents kissed you, drank after you, whatever. They gave you their bacteria, and then you just got exactly what your family gave you. And legit, I am not trying to make this into a product placement or anything like that, but this is where like new products are coming into. We're the very first person to ever do this with our biotech nanolipid emulsion. It is the very first product in the world that actually targets the bacteria. It doesn't worry about the other stuff that doesn't really matter anymore. It's like, why not just get rid of the bacteria? And obviously this is the very first product in the world that directly attacks these bacteria. Specifically ours attacks S. mutans and P. gingivalis, but I'm sure this biolipid technology is going to come later on and get even better and better and better, and other people are going to join. We are just the first people to ever do it. So for someone like her, I would love to. This is Jordan Kelly. If you reach out to me, I would love to give you our Zero Pro, because this is the first ever biotech toothpaste in the world, and it will directly delete the bacteria that are causing your issues, specifically P. gingivalis, which is gum disease, and S. mutans, which is the cavity one. Now you can finally take that oral microbiome that you have that's been causing you issues since you were a kid, and finally reduce those levels down to where you don't have to go to the dentist worrying if you're gonna get another cavity. And it's just gonna get even crazier from here with biotech. I wouldn't doubt it if we solve oral disease completely in like 3 to 5 years, and that's gonna be a crazy time. I'm just glad that we get to be a part of it. And Jordan, reach out to me and I'll give you some Zero Pro. Your sign not to get oh my gosh, that dude's got a wire sticking right out of his teeth. Boy, are you using craft scissors to try and cut that? Bro, you can't even cut a piece of paper with those things most of the time. What makes you think you're gonna cut a nickel titanium wire with that thing? By the way, these wires are really hard to cut. If it's a really thin, flexible wire like the early ones, sometimes you can get away with like a nail clipper. Really, you need a wire cutter for this, if possible. And then even then you're gonna break some brackets off. Yeah, let's say he's not gonna get that thing cut. He's looking at it like, what the heck? I thought scissors were supposed to cut things. Yeah, no, those wires are impenetrable. I'm telling you. This is what you guys come to me with when you come to the office. You're like, I don't know how it broke. You just like, I was breathing and it just snapped in half. No, this wire is impenetrable. It's like Superman, okay? You can't just, it's a man of steel. You can't hurt it. So I know if it broke in half, you must have really done something to get that out of there. Not to mention the 4 or 5 brackets you broke along with it, you know, from breathing air. C-Smoke says you're supposed to make an emergency call to your orthodontist to get that fixed. And yes, that would be what you would do rather than rip it out of your mouth and cut it with a wire. You know, in fact, you could just take that wire and tuck it up underneath those brackets most of the time, and it's gonna be out of your way and you won't even notice it until you can get back into your orthodontist. Little pro tip for you. See, that's what I'm talking about, Mona Lisa. You're educated. You're not supposed to take that off and tuck it into the back until you... Maybe I am doing some good for the world. Maybe I am teaching you guys something. And Asia says use a nail clipper. And while the nail clipper does work for your very first like 1 or 2 wires, after that the wires are way too thick and you're just gonna break your nail clipper and then be frustrated on top of that. But yeah, maybe just call your orthodontist. They'll figure it out for you. It takes 2 seconds to clip a wire for you, or just put it right back in place. But what do I know? All right, your teeth are so pretty. The crap I've been through, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, bro, you don't see those very often. Moving it forward, getting everything out. Oh man. Yeah, I'll explain that. And then you got to go into braces after. Okay, so yes, I understand this person's been through a lot. So what exactly is going on? This is a rare thing. You don't see this very often. This is what we call a twin block appliance. So if you like pause it there on the side, you can see that you've got little blocks on this side down here and then blocks up here on top. And so what happens is basically we use things called rubber bands on the braces to pull your bite. Like if you have an overbite, you need rubber bands to kind of pull in different directions, right? And so what this is basically these blocks hit each other and then slide the jaw forward. So it kind of does what rubber bands do without braces. So it's just the retainer version of rubber bands pretty much, called a twin block. Now this one's a little bit different. As you can see, it's got the expander built into it. And sometimes you see that as well, so they can do some expansion while you're doing this. These are sometimes used in people pre-braces. We call it phase 1. So if you're like 9, 10 years old, you don't have all your permanent teeth in yet, you're waiting for some of those permanent teeth to come in, you can use this to kind of get ahead of the game until you get into full braces when you're like 12 years old. And then yes, when you're done with everything, you would get the braces to finish up everything and make sure it's all looking good from there. But this is something, you don't see it very often, but it is something that is still used. Isabel says, are the retainer things before braces really obvious? And you know, twin blocks are pretty bulky, so yeah, you're not gonna be able to talk very well with all this stuff in your mouth, and you're gonna be doing it. It's more something you wear like at night and during, you know, after school hours. It would be great for you to wear it all the time, like face gear, but you know, we know that most of you guys don't wanna wear that, so that's why it's just so tough to do this stuff. A lot of times we just say, we're just gonna wait until phase 2, we'll just fix it all there. There's kind of no point in doing phase 1 a lot of the times unless they really need expansion, to be honest. Alice says, I'm getting the twin block with braces in 19 days and I'm counting down to hell. Well, don't worry too much. It's not that big of a deal. I would just say, make sure you wear it. It does a good job if you wear it all the time, but if you're taking it off and on and not really doing what you're supposed to, it's not really gonna do much for you. Either way, once again, most people don't get these crazy things. Most people just get the braces, wear the rubber bands, and do a great job. But if you do get it, it's not the end of the world. Just listen to your orthodontist, do what you're supposed to do, and you'll get out of it lickety-split with an amazing Hollywood smile. When I notice a bruise,
I know what kind of man you are.
Wait, what is the, wait, what?
I know what kind of man you are.
Okay. For you guys who are wondering why I'm smiling and laughing, I might be blushing right now. I don't know where to go with this. Yeah, no, this is a thing. This is a thing in dentistry. Yes, it is. And for those confused that are tagging me in this, saying, what does she mean by that? How do I portray this? Now, there are certain actions that cause bruising. Let's say, you know, if I hit my arm, I can get a bruise. You're following me so far. So there are certain things in the mouth that if get hit back there, you can also get a bruise. And we see a lot of these things, you know, in the mouth, a lot of different things. You can tell if someone's a smoker, you can tell a lot of different things. You can tell if someone's got cancer. You can also tell someone's orientation, if you know what I'm talking about. But in all reality though, to bring it back to seriousness, there is a reason why we're trained to do this, and it's not to out people or have them come out of the closet, okay? It's actually to protect mainly children from, let's just say, abuse, if you know what I'm talking about. And people have caught multiple of instances of this happening and able to save kids' lives because they are able to find this stuff. So while it is funny in some sense, and yes, there are, you can catch some people coming out the closet before they want to, just by noticing some things like this. By the way, we have patient, doctor confidentiality. It's not like we're gonna go tell your parents or anything like that, unless it's an abusive thing and you're younger and all these things. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, this is a very tough thing to talk about. My dad is a dentist and this is how I had to come out, bro. Wow, yeah, no, that happens. And I can only imagine your dad figuring it out, because that would just be awkward. And then she said, I've had the same dentist since I was a baby, and I went and he side-eyed me. It is very awkward. I'm not gonna lie, that's all I'm gonna say about that. It's not what you think. I play bass clarinet. To be fair, there is probably other reasons it could happen. It's just, that's the first thing that our minds go to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Says, I just like popsicles. I don't know what you're doing with popsicles to make it do that, but stop. All right, how to floss properly. So stop flossing like this, and instead floss like this. She's got really good gum tissue. You see how there's no bleeding going on, there's no irritation, there's no whatever. So basically what she's talking about, stop doing this, is just popping the flosser in and out. Try this instead. What she's trying to say is create a C shape by pulling the floss over to one side and getting up and down the tooth. And actually, I am one of the very few dentists in the world that will say this to the end of the day. I think that floss picks work just as good as traditional floss. I know. That being said, we specifically made our floss picks to actually have a little more slack in them so you could get more of a C shape and go around them. But yes, you do have to do it correctly. And guess what? Floss is the exact same way. If you have the string floss and you're just popping it in and out, you're not doing anything either, okay? So basically what you need to do, whether you have floss or you have the floss picks, particularly mine, I believe ours are the best, to be honest. But anyways, you pop it up, you drag it over, you go up and down, you pop it over, you drag over and down, you go up and down, and then you can go out to the next one. The goal is to wrap it around the tooth and really get the entire tooth surface from top to bottom. And yes, this is a really important thing, and I wish people would floss more. And floss picks like these are so much easier to use, way easier for people to get in the habit of using these, throwing them in their purse, doing stuff like that after a meal, all that. And so I think it's just a great invention, and I think it's one of the best things that happened was switching over to floss threaders like this or floss picks like this versus traditional floss. And I know there's probably a lot of hygienists out there that are gonna hate me saying I like these better, but the stats point to more people are going to use this than traditional floss, and they work pretty much just as good. Ooh, Quip coming in saying, or buy a water flosser. And while I love water flossing, and to be fair, our AquaClean Duo absolutely smacks Quip's water flosser across the curb and back because it's way better, but you still need some traditional floss. Even with our water flosser, I still recommend people do traditional flossing at least once a week to get anything that water flossing has missed. And Lily says, it's hard to do that with gingivitis, and that's kind of the point. It's going to be painful, it's going to be annoying, it's going to be irritating, you're going to see some red stuff coming out, and guess what? Keep doing it, because every day will get better and better and better, and then you'll get that nice pink colored gum tissue that she's got there. It's nice, firm, good, it's not going to bleed anymore, and that's when you know that gingivitis is gone. So what are your options? Are either leave the gingivitis or get rid of it. So just get rid of it. All right, this is apparently how a cavity is done. All right, we're going to see here. All right. I mean, it's not normally made of chocolate, but it is, kind of the consistency that he's showing there. Okay, we're getting it out. We're using special tools. Normally you'll use like a round burr to do this, not like that burr. And there is like some scoopers. That's the burr that you would normally use inside that kind of round burr. And he's pulling the nerve out. I'm assuming that's normally this is actually like a bleach type cleaner that goes in. I know he's just kind of using what he's got there, not chocolate. And you definitely don't use petroleum jelly or whatever that is, and you don't stick a little, that's like a core in post thing. Anyways, the point is you do fill it back up with some material there. You don't necessarily put a crown on top like that and do that, but you can use some stuff to kind of help you mold and shape it there. And then he's curing it, and we do use the bite paper to see where it's high, and we do drill it down. This is such a weird video because I feel like this man has dental drills and other things, but then he's like using the weirdest stuff like chocolate and UV gel and like weird things like that. So is this like getting a cavity? Kinda, sorta. in a way, I would say that the real deal is probably easier than all of these steps that he showed here, because he kind of showed not only the filling, but a root canal and a crown kind of in the way there. So, I mean, there's a lot in there, but it was close enough, I guess, for you guys to get the idea. Jackson said that was a root canal. See, I knew educating you guys was a good idea. And you're right, this was kind of a cavity crown root canal situation that he was doing. It was a hybrid thing. More like a Frankenstein dental procedure than anything. And Caribbean Jim says, I'd rather give birth than go to the dentist. Well, you know, hopefully my job is to educate you so you take care of your teeth enough so you're happy to go to the dentist because you don't have anything wrong with you. They're just saying, what a great job you've done. Let's get you a cleaning and get you out of here. That's my... All right, well, we got people with braces when they stop smiling. Well, it looks like a good smile to me. Oh my gosh, dude. That's so hilarious. So yes, we've all been through this. And if you guys don't know, it's because of the rubber band hooks. So you have the braces, the bracket itself, the wires, and then you have these little rubber band hooks that stick right here to be able to pull your teeth certain different ways. And those hooks are what's going up and getting caught on those lips as you try and close it down. Now, in fact, I've had patients that had this as like a stem that they did, and they would do this all the time, and then they would get these giant like blisters and cuts in here. So highly don't recommend doing this often all the time if you can. But yes, maybe this is why people don't smile so much when they have braces. I don't know. It's kind of weird because they don't want to smile before braces, so they get braces to smile, but they don't smile when they have braces, but then that leads them to smiling forever with a nice smile. And these comments are crazy. It's called eye up. I just do eye up before stop smiling. I looked it up. It's basically the motion eye up. You know that move, and you do it before you start smiling, so this doesn't happen to you. And then Kiara says, I haven't had braces in almost 10 years, and I can still feel this video. And me too, I'm having like phantom eye up pain, I guess is what it's called. But I don't know, if you've got braces, do you go through this, or do you even remember doing this? Because I definitely do.
Let me show you how to make a natural toothpaste that will whiten your teeth like crazy. This stuff.
All right, he's making his own little toothpaste. Here we go. 5 simple ingredients.
Bentonite clay, food grade hydrogen peroxide, which I'm going to dilute to 3%.
Okay, good. I was gonna say.
Peppermint essential oil, super easy.
Okay, let's go through this. So the first thing he's putting in there is 3 heaping spoonfuls of coconut oil. So basically all this is gonna do is just be a base for it. I don't hate it. I'm not a fan of the coconut oil side of things, but it's not gonna harm you. So I think it's a good base if you're making an at-home toothpaste for sure.
Coconut oil has antimicrobial properties.
It does have antimicrobial properties. I do like the baking soda. Baking soda is really good, and it's actually not abrasive to your teeth.
Bentonite clay.
The bentonite clay he's putting in there. Now, one thing I would say here is he is using a metal spoon in bentonite clay, and if I remember right, the metal actually reacts with the bentonite clay and like pulls heavy metals or something like that, and maybe puts it in it. So it's like not good. You want to use like a wooden spoon with bentonite clay if possible. But once again, it is what it is. It's not a bad toothpaste so far. Okay, so it can potentially pull some heavy metals or toxins. Okay.
Metal spoon. The concern here is that if you mix this up
Oh,
with
so
a metal
like
spoon,
so he's talking about the metal spoon.
pull trace metals out of the metal spoon, so I'm going to mix it with a wood spoon.
Okay, so he's mixing with the wood spoon, but then he got the metal spoon. I don't know. Okay, so now he's doing the peroxide. Now I think this is really important to note that it was concentrated at a 35%. And you do not want to have that in there. That's way too high, okay? So he diluted it down to 3% food safe hydrogen peroxide. So basically that's gonna be a whitening agent for him. So let's see what
of hydrogen peroxide to around 3%.
Yeah, exactly. 3%, and then he adds some peppermint drops and the essential oils for the minty. And okay, here it is. It's not bad, okay? For just a natural toothpaste that you can do at home, I don't hate it. The only problem is there's no protection here. Now, it's going to be getting the bacterial biofilm off your teeth, which is really the most important part. That's why I don't really care. But that being said, to have some type of protection against your tooth, which basically means one of the two camps, which is fluoride to strengthen the tooth or nanohydroxyapatite to rebuild the tooth. Having one of those type of protections is gonna be, paramount in making sure that you're okay in your mouth. So would I personally use this? No, because I would want nanohydroxyapatite, I would want some xylitol, and obviously with our Zero Pro, we have the Biofuse, the nanolipid emulsion that literally directly targets and attacks the bacteria that cause the disease of, cavities and gum disease. So, I mean, you're not gonna get any of those in a homemade toothpaste, but if you need something in a pinch and you just absolutely do not wanna go to the store and you wanna make it yourself, I don't hate this. It's not terrible. I give it a 6 out of 10. Using whitening strips on my brain. Wait, what? Let me pause on. Oh no. Okay, first off, if a lot of you guys don't know, I have a very long history with whitening and braces. You see, because 3 years ago, I put this bracket on my teeth. Yes, almost 3 years ago. And I tried everything from whitening with whitening strips. I tried the gels. I tried making custom ones and cutting around it and like doing it. And it is almost impossible to whiten with braces on. Except for I finally found a way to make a custom retainer to kind of build up a little dome on there that I could put it on and specifically only whiten that area. So for 3 years it's been sitting on there having stain build up. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna whiten around that tooth, and then eventually it's gonna cause that tooth to become white. And then when I take off this bracket, underneath will be a yellow square, potentially. Or there is a potential that the whitening can go up underneath the braces and whiten underneath it, meaning it would be possible to whiten with braces on. We just don't know yet. So for those who've been following the saga for the past 3 years, yes, we finally developed a way to whiten, and yes, we will get it off there. But I'm not gonna lie, there is a stipulation. To get this off, I need to reach 10 million subscribers on that, application you're probably watching this on, or the one that does the long form videos, if you know what I'm talking about. And we're currently at 8.5 million followers on there. So I'm gonna need to hit 10 million before I take this thing off. And I think it's really the least you guys can do. You know how crazy it is to keep a bracket on your teeth for 3 years for a whitening experiment? You know how many times my wife tells me I look crazy? So yeah, can you whiten with braces or not? Well, we're gonna find out really soon. And it looks like Blondie here wants to know, says, oh girl, when those come off, you're gonna have bracket marks forever. Those yellow squares, I don't know. What do you guys think? Will there be a yellow square underneath my tooth or not? I guess we'll find out together. Oh, excuse me. Okay, first off, we need to have a little talk here. First, who is this man? This man just pulled his tooth live out of his mouth with no anesthetic and didn't even flinch. I'll tell you one thing, I am not gonna mess with this guy. But seriously, that's crazy. Obviously, I don't recommend this. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. You could literally even have a heart attack if you have like heart pressure issues and you're pulling on stuff and causing stress to yourself like this. Sweet bejeebus, that must have hurt so bad. Why would you do this? Let's see if we can find some context in the comments. Stacy said, tooth pain will make you give 0 blank. Obviously, as you know, we blurred that out. And that is so true. There is one thing that I know, and that is tooth pain will make a grown man cry, because it is the worst thing of everything, because it's persistent and it can't go away. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, unless you want to just rip the tooth out of your face like this man did. Kevin said that dry socket is gonna be brutal. Yeah, if you guys don't know, when you pull a big molar like this, it leaves a giant hole and you're not supposed to smoke or suck on straws or eat spicy foods because it can cause dry socket, which is almost more painful than the tooth removal. But I'm sure he doesn't care about that either. And then what said, the way I see it, he just saved himself 2,500 bucks. And you know what? He did probably save himself some money, except for an extraction doesn't cost that much. You can get an extraction for like 150 bucks. All I know is I'm scared of this man, and I would not be messing with him or get into a fight with him ever anytime soon. Which is easy for me because I'm a lover, not a fighter. All right, we got a root canal. Oh my gosh, is that a larva worm coming out of there? Oh, that is great. I love seeing that. That's cool. That one came out in one whole piece. Okay, so what we're looking at here is obviously a root canal. What a root canal is basically, you're going inside the pulpal chamber of the tooth and you're going down into the root. And what is in there? Well, your blood supply is in the pulp, yes, but your nerve is also in the root. And a lot of people don't understand this, but your nerve is like a thing that's inside living tissue inside of your mouth. Now it can get necrotic and turn black and get infected and all that type of stuff, but this is what, you're pulling out basically the nerve of the tooth. It's like a little worm that lives inside your mouth, but that's the actual nerve that they're removing in the root canal, because you need to clean out the pulp, you need to clean out the nerve, and then you just basically clean out the entire inside of the tooth. From there, they'll fill it up and put a crown and everything on it and get it all done. But that's pretty crazy. Mr. E says, bro, you're working on my nerves right now. It is interesting because we say we work on teeth, but at some point we do work on nerves. Yes, and a lot of people don't realize that just like you have nerves in your hands and your fingers and your toes, you've also got nerves in your teeth. And the Ricardo with the hind. Yes, even when you're a dentist doing a root canal and you're doing some of this stuff, we're doing that under our masks. Like we got our mask on, we're just like, oh my gosh. It can get pretty gnarly for us too. Everybody always thinks about the patient. What about the doctor, okay? You've never seen what I've seen, trust me. These eyes have seen it. All right, we got a little coil in here, and that little loop means that we're gonna be doing a Tataroonie there, yep. Which is kind of crazy. It's a temporary anchorage device, which is like a mini implant that screws into your mouth. Fun fact, we had to screw these into our own mouths in dental school, and it just feels like a lot of pressure. not pain. So you can see there's putting a rubber band around there, pretty gnarly, and that's about it, pretty normal. Now what you're seeing there, basically this whole segment of getting everything in there and everything, and basically you see he's forming that little dot up top to make a triangle there. And what these are used for is people with open bites. When you have a big open bite, and it's to pull those back molars up and out of the way to make your bite deeper over time. So if you have a really open bite, you pull these guys out of the way and then you can bite deeper on that side, and that will allow you to, deepen that open bite. And a ton of people tag me in this saying, Bentist, I am not getting braces if this has to happen to me. And most of you guys are not gonna use TADs at all, but if you do, it's not that big of a deal. Exactly. Hi, Sammy says, I'm getting braces. They don't do this. Then we have comments that say, excuse me, and that looks painful. And actually it's really not that painful. It should be numb. In fact, if it's painful, they put it in the wrong spot. If it's painful, that means they went too close to the root and you're starting to get some nerve pain there. It really should be between the roots and should have no pain at all, just pressure. In fact, we don't even numb up normally. We can use a little sensitizing gel, but we don't use a shot or numb up at all because we want you to be able to feel the pain so that we know if we put it in the wrong spot or not. Either way, still pretty crazy. All right, let's see here. Oh man, that is what we call maximum grinding there. And then look at that. Okay, let's start over here. Let's start from the front. Okay, if you look at these teeth, you can see that these are heavily worn down. Now this is happening from grinding, more than likely front to back grinding, like this. No, not that front to back grind. And so, unfortunately, your teeth are not impenetrable and they will wear down over time. And I actually have this slightly. I actually am a side sleeper, so instead of front to back, when I go front to back, it kind of goes at an angle, and so I wear down at an angle here, but still it's the same thing. Now this could be due to breathing issues, could be due to stress and neurological disorders, it could be just be sleeping in a bad, weird position and your body can't get enough air. And so what happens is your bite tries to move forward to allow you to breathe, and then your bite falls back again. And then you move forward to breathe, and it falls back again. And so you get into this issue of that happening. And so this person got a composite transformation, which if you're looking at here, it looks pretty good. We covered it up, we filled up the little gaps and everything like that. The only issue with composite veneers sometimes is that they get a little bit bulky. You can see her top teeth are a little more bulky than her lower teeth there. And also they look a little less optically good than regular porcelain. But other than that, it's actually really good, and the composite is pretty strong, and in fact it's going to be much harder to wear away the composite than her teeth were. This is from Dr. May Bassett, and it looks like she did a pretty good job. Darcy says, how does that happen? And kind of like I said, it's mainly probably airway. It could also be tongue suction patterns. If you don't keep your tongue properly suctioned up into the mouth. Shout out to my looks maxers, the mewers out there. That's actually kind of what they're practicing. And if you have that tongue, not really holding your jaw forward, well then your jaw falls back and you're doing this thing all night long, which is causing that. It also could just be due to stress and neurological disorders. Traveling Nomad says, veneers look good, but lay off acidic drinks as well, as do weeks of cleansing to reduce your grinding. And actually they're not wrong. If you're having a lot of acidic drinks and things, we do see similar stuff like that in GERD related issues where, we get a lot of acid on the back of the teeth. It wears down the enamel, and then when you grind, it just wears it away even more. And so she could have a mix of GERD with the grinding together. That very well could be a possibility. Another thing you can do is just wear a night guard at night. So you're sliding around properly and you're not damaging the teeth any more than they've already been damaged. All right, you guys, a bunch of you guys tagged me in this one. When you carry a baby for 9 months, it's going to smell like this. Wait, what? What? Okay, first off, why did you guys tag me in this? This is not even related to dentistry at all. I'm not gonna lie, I think I know why you guys tagged me in this. Hamilton literally said, is that the Bentist? Wow. Wow, you guys are really gonna do this to me, huh? Listen, I understand that I've got some crazy eyebrows and I'm very expressive in how I use them. And fun fact, a lot of people for some reason, they'll say that I got Botox something in here and that's why it does it. I have never gotten Botox one day in my life. I don't know what it is. I just have a very expressive face. I talk with my eyebrows. It's not my fault. Lorraine says, about to steal Christmas. Why you guys gotta pull the Grinch jokes on me? I don't look that much like the Grinch, do I? Either way, that's a cute baby video. 2, I'm kind of upset. And 3, well, it's not that big of a deal either, I guess. The Rock's got crazy eyebrows, but you don't see you guys making fun of him. But if you guys keep it up, maybe I will steal Christmas, okay? Oh my gosh, let's see here.
She gave no f***s. Not even one.
Oh man, she's got the full thing going on. Okay. So obviously you guys have seen expanders, right? The stuff that you put people in their mouth and we've seen people turn it. But this is an interesting one because if you look in there, there are actually these little holes in the top. Now these are called MARPIes. So basically what those are your regular expander, but they're actually screwed into the roof of your mouth. And these are really common in adults. And that's because, as you guys probably already know from watching my stuff, your palate or your roof of your mouth is made into two different bones that will fuse together right around 18, 19, 20, sometimes even earlier. And so a normal expander won't work anymore because that suture is fused and then the teeth will just kind of flare out instead. So what we have to do is use something like a MARPI here, where you actually screw a tad into the roof of your mouth and now you've got anchorage into the bone. So when you push it apart, it's gonna cause that suture to potentially break and then pop open like that, causing a giant gap right down the middle of your teeth. Now this will be great for not only widening the palate, but it will help with airflow, which is gonna cause, nasal breathing issues and stuff to go down, and nighttime breathing, grinding, stuff like that to go down as well. And overall, just aesthetically having that nice wide smile is really awesome too. In fact, I have a little narrower of a palate just because we didn't have this technology whenever I was growing up, and I didn't get an expander when I was growing up. And so I've actually thought about doing this myself. I don't know, what do you guys think? Should I do a MARPI on myself and get a big old gap in the middle? I don't know. And a lot of people ask if this is painful. No, it's just gonna really feel like a bunch of pressure until all of a sudden one day you'll feel a pop and then it'll break open. Now a lot of times too, this isn't even enough as well, and you got to go into a thing called a SARPI, which is where they surgically break that suture open and then the MARPI happens. Kook says it doesn't hurt at first, but a few hours later it starts hurting real bad. And more than likely it's not actually pain related to that, it's probably the pressure on the teeth that you're feeling, and so those teeth start to get, well, basically sore. Luckily it does go away after a while, and it is really just mainly pressure that you're gonna feel. Zebra says, I just got war flashbacks. And I know a lot of you guys has PTSD from expanders, but hey, at least you got the expansion you were looking for. But I don't know, would you get one of these, or would you just totally just leave it as it is? All right, we got another 24-month braces journey. I always like to kind of stop here and see what we got. Okay, so actually looks like a pretty normal thing that we see all the time. She has 2 blocked out teeth on the lower and a pretty close bite there, which kind of tells me that she's probably more like this, a little class 3-ish. It's just that the teeth got kind of crowded up and stuff like that. So normally we would add some springs here and open it up. Let's see what they did. Oh, she has the cheeks, so that means she got her teeth removed. Unfortunately, not a big fan of having the teeth removed like that. But basically what they did was remove the upper and lower premolars to bring everything back there. Now what you'll notice is there's big gaps on the top and bottom, which all of that stuff is gonna fall into. Now even with the blocked out teeth, she's only gonna fill about half of those gaps. And remember, upstairs, there's no gaps at all because her teeth were normal. So that means her front teeth just have to literally go like this to close up those gaps. Not my favorite, because we'll probably see later that it's gonna affect her profile, but let's kinda keep on looking. You can see how much spacing there is when she turns to the side, and we have to pull all of that back. Okay, so that's a great one right there to look. So you can see that her lower is already straight, and you can still see giant gaps on the top and bottom. Now, we're not gonna bring everything forward to match that. They're gonna bring everything back to match that. That means her profile and her lips and everything is gonna go back. So you can see when she's at her side, she's got some flaring, all that type of stuff, but that's actually supporting her lips and stuff like that too. There's definitely ways you could have just deflared that using some IPR at the start. Okay, so now the gaps are closing up, or getting closer and closer. So you can already see on this side profile that her nose, lips, and chin, so this is what we call the E-line, and we want them all to be on that E-line together. And you can already see how far back her upper lip is. That's because she had that tendency for that underbite. And instead of fixing it with some rubber bands, she should have had some class 3 rubber bands and some IPR to do that. They took out all the teeth and then rammed it back. And unfortunately what that's gonna do, even though I'm sure it's gonna turn out good and everything's gonna look straight, is her profile is just not gonna look as good as it should, because her profile is just gonna get worse over time instead of better. Now we've got all that space closed up there, and we're looking, she still has space on the top she's gotta fix up. And they're pulling it back, and now you can really see that nose is really far forward of that upper lip. And so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we've got. It's going to continue closing, and I'm sure it's going to turn out great. We can actually go to the ending here and kind of see what she looks like at the end. And there you go. So, I mean, obviously it looks really good still. The teeth are looking good. Her smile is looking good. The only thing that I really see that I just dislike about it is that, 1, they removed 4 healthy teeth when they didn't have to. And 2, they probably just made her profile worse than it could have been. We could have pushed everything forward. We could have had proper rubber band to help that upper maxilla grow forward at her age, and then we could have really gotten her a really nice E-line there instead of the kind of nose and chin being farther out and everything like that. Now, we can't do anything about it now, and she probably doesn't even notice that this happened, but I see this all the time, and I just wish more people would go to some orthodontists that understand non-extraction orthodontists to try and get the best facial profile and teeth that we can get. And they still did absolutely nothing. That's right, it actually blows my mind that this purple whitening strip trend is like still going on after years of just scamming people. Because no matter if you leave this on for 3 hours, 3 days, or 3 minutes, it's not gonna do anything. And it doesn't matter what brand does it or who sells it to you. It's literally just a brain trick to make you think in that moment it's slightly whiter than it really is. Trust me, it's not. I mean, you could believe the thousands of comments of people saying they got scammed and it didn't work and it didn't do anything, but that doesn't stop people from selling it to you using teeth whitening filters and faking stuff, which a lot of companies are actually getting sued because of this. But hey, at least those green teeth whitening strips didn't last too long. They were meant for like skin lightening and they tried to put those on your teeth. It's like people will do anything other than just use the actual thing that whitens your teeth, which is hydrogen peroxide. And you can get whitening strips from literally like Dollar General that have hydrogen peroxide that work. So I don't know why you're wasting all your money on these. That's what he said. Didn't we learn any lessons from Ross Geller? And yeah, as much as I like Friends, he was definitely using hydrogen peroxide whitening strips. He wasn't using fake scam purple whitening. Then he said, as a dental hygienist, don't do this. And yeah, if you're using regular actual whitening that works, yeah, you're gonna get super sensitive. Your teeth are gonna hurt. It's gonna be a big deal there. With this stuff, I don't even know, like, it's probably toxic. It's just like straight up Violet 3 FDA bad regulated color like dye. So yeah, probably not good to keep in your mouth for a long time. Either way, I just hope for a day when you guys finally stop getting scammed. You know, that's why we made something nice, was so you guys didn't get scammed. And you know what? You people are finally getting products that actually work. And as you noticed, I don't sell purple teeth whitening strips, and I never will, because they don't work. But hopefully we've at least saved a few of you guys. I think my orthodontist forgot a step. Wait, what is she talking about? I think my orthodontist forgot a step. Let's see. Oh, that's funny. The power chains. Oh, okay, I get it now. She said, this is not how our power chain works. Yes, actually it is. And we probably did that on purpose. Now, obviously, for sure, she could have like popped them off of here and just had them floating around. But actually, there are times where you put the power chain below and on top of the brackets on purpose. You see, because your tooth is a lever, right? It's a system that is gonna be switching back and forth like this. If you have the bracket on here and we wanna move it this way, the power chain is on the bracket. But if you have a lot of flaring, well, we will put it on top to unflare and deflare that tooth. So hers being on top is probably because she had a little bit of flaring on the lower and they wanted to tip the teeth back this direction. And conversely, you can actually put it on the lower and you can cause it to go the opposite direction. Maybe if you're up top and you have a lot of deflaring, you put it up here to try and flare out the teeth a little bit. So yeah, we can actually change the force factor of where that power chain is to actually flare the teeth in different reasons. So actually, no, they did not forget a step, more than likely. Toy Stada says, it's because you have Damon braces. And no, I use Damon braces. You can do this with any type of braces. Obviously, Damon braces and self-ligating braces in general are best for this because they have the least amount of resistance. But yeah, you can do this technique on any braces. And look, actually somebody else says, yeah, okay, I got these. And he's got it down below on the bottom, which is the same concept. It's just gonna flare and pull it down that way. So yeah, next time you go to your orthodontist and you get some power chains like this, just know that they're probably know what they're doing and they're probably not gonna cause any problems. And it's for a reason. And Isley says, no, they did that to mine too. It actually does something. I just don't know what. Well, now you do. You see this bracket on my mouth? I've been whitening every day to see if underneath it, when we take it off, there will be left a yellow square. That's right, a yellow square. All right, bedazzled my retainer because I'm a young what? Don't call yourself that. Oh my gosh. You know, when you pause it on the grill, it actually looks pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. You know, as a normal person, I'm actually supportive of this because, you know, it would get you to wear your retainer. And why don't we make retainers that look awesome like this anyways? I feel like that's such a big market. But as an orthodontist, I have to unfortunately tell you some things about this. One, you're using super glue to put those bedazzle beads on there. And you know, last time I checked, I'm pretty sure super glue is toxic. But I don't know, maybe somebody in the comments can tell me differently. Also, I know about this and, you know, unfortunately, maybe I'm am the guy that's the reason why this is all happening, because I was the very first person to ever bedazzle my retainer in my crazy retainer series way back in the day. And one thing that I found out really quickly is those beads fall off. They fall off a lot, and then you're ended up with this crusty, dusty retainer with beads missing and then gunk everywhere. And then once that happens, guess what? You don't want to wear your retainer anymore because it's nasty and disgusting and gross, and then you got to go get a new one from a dental office, and it's going to cost you like $250, and you're wasting all this money. So even though it does seem tempting, I probably would not do this. Biggie says, I sat on mine and it broke. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you accidentally ruined yours. She purposely ruined hers. Like Ilya was like, I thought you meant the case, but you for real. Yeah, now cases, I totally understand. Bedazzle the crap out of your case. That's probably a better idea. Just bedazzle the crap out of your cases. That'll get that bedazzling itch out without having to ruin your retainer. Either way, still looks pretty cool though. I just wouldn't do it. All right, you guys tagged me in this guy's apparently crazy transformation here. And yeah, we can tell that he's got a ton of crowding. And it does look like they're doing this non-extraction, which is really, really cool. I like that. And so what we've got here is we're gonna start unraveling the crowding. Okay, we're at 17th week now, the crowding is unraveled, but what you're seeing is we're seeing a gap open here in the front. And that's because as you unravel teeth, they kind of come out forward. Okay, now we've gotten to the rubber bands here. These rubber bands, oh, look, like that, right in the 26th week, they've already closed it down. So those rubber bands he's wearing in a square there are actually to close down that space that we caused. Now he's moving on to settling rubber bands here in the back. Man, what a change this guy has had. Holy moly. And he's at 42 weeks here. So that's less than a year he's already moved this along. That's kind of crazy. 59th week, he's already got his bottom braces off, and his final results in only a year and 5 months. Let's pause it there and take a look. Everything looks pretty good. He does have a little bit of gapping and spacing here in the front. You can tell a little bit open there. I would have loved to see that close and have a little bit of a better overbite, but still in a year and 5 months, that looks really good. Another thing that we do in orthodontics offices normally is we do some Hollywood where we'll polish those edges completely flat and we'll round the corners and make it look perfect. But from the results, let's go back to the very beginning and see what his results were at the beginning. Yeah, you can see a huge difference, and that just shows you the power of orthodontics. It's pretty wild stuff. And Livia said, I think braces are the most underrated invention ever. And I'm not gonna lie, you're probably right, because we have changed so many people's lives. Man, it is insane to think how many people we walking around with some crusty, dusty teeth if I didn't fix them with my orthodontics and braces, including my own, you know what I'm saying? But what do you guys think? Did you have braces or no? Let me know down below. All right, what do we got here?
I've been hurting pretty daggone bad here lately. You can see there's a fishing line hanging out of my mouth.
I think I know where this is going. Oh yeah, that is hypermobile and wiggly. That thing is a goner.
This might be the worst idea I ever come up with. But the thing is tied to the very first nail.
Is that a nail gun? You know, I have seen people remove their teeth in lots of different ways, but I have not seen somebody remove their teeth with a nail gun before. All right. He's taking aim. I hear the gas going off. Well, fun fact, you can rip a tooth out with a nail gun. That's nice to know. Oh my gosh, Creek Crane says, only 2 more episodes left to go. Let's not be mean here, guys. What is that old joke they said? They came up with the name of the toothbrush because they made it in Alabama or something like that. The people in the South have teeth, okay? We don't just all have one tooth, okay? Oh, I like that. Indy said healthcare in America, yeah. You know, it's getting bad. We're trying to do whatever we can. Trust me, we're actually trying to automate our stuff to bring prices down a little bit for you guys. So I'd say it's gonna be cool though. Future, it's gonna be good. Right now, it's pretty expensive. Either way, until then, I guess we've got nail guns.
One magnet and it's over.
What is it?
I bought this for you.
What do we got? Oh, she's got some hardware in her mouth, doesn't she? That looks like, what, a herps sticking out? I can normally tell because these little balls are like, they normally stick out the side of the cheeks. They're really annoying. Yeah, she definitely has.
This thing is gonna work.
Let's see what we got. Oh my gosh, let's pause it there. So yeah, she's got a herps. She's got like a little lingual bar there. She's got, it looks like TADs up in here. Those are normally do be if you have someone with a big gummy smile to help pull everything upwards. That's kind of crazy. Oh, those noises, ASMR straight up. She's got bite blocks on the bottom. Man, that is a mouthful of stuff right there. It should, yeah, it should react just a little bit. Yeah, because they are made.
It's working. Oh my.
Dude, I cannot imagine having that much stuff in your mouth. And yes, it will be magnetized. It's not like crazy magnetized like you would think, because there's a lot of nickel and there's other metals in there. It's not just like straight up, you know, stainless steel. I like that. That's one cool said, never go near an MRI machine. Yeah, that actually, I believe Is that a thing? You know, I would have thought that it would have been, like, it would have ripped the metal out of your mouth, but it actually says MRI scans are generally safe to undergo with dental braces because modern orthodontic metals are non-ferrous, and stainless steel, titanium, ceramic are typically safe and won't be pulled by an MRI magnet. The more you know. And then Sawaya says, how do you eat? That's true. You gotta know. I mean, I should really be sending her one of our new AquaClean Duos when it comes out, because she's gonna need to be getting up in there and getting all sorts of food and gunk out of that thing. And for those asking, no, you're probably not gonna need all of these things. A normal braces is probably fine. This one is way overboard, but still nonetheless, it looks crazy. What the hell? Oh my gosh, that's a full tooth.
No way. No way.
What did you do?
Tonight, so that's a positive, you know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's pause it real quick. You can actually see when it falls out there. This is a full tooth. This probably got knocked out in some way, shape, or form. Either they got hit or something happened and it came out, the full entire tooth and the root there, which is actually really rare to see, you know, the full tooth like this in a video. So you can actually see the root there and you can see the crown there, which is really cool to see the two parts of your actual tooth that you've got. Now, a couple things I would note. He says, I wish the dentist was open on the weekends. And here's the deal. There is emergency clinics you could go to in scenarios like this. Now, what you should do is you should put it right back in the socket. You know, get some saliva on it, put it in your mouth, get it wet with some saliva, get some of that dirt off, and then put it right back up inside that socket to try and get it in there, and try and keep it in there as best as you can until you get to that dental office. Once you pull it out and let it dry and get other things, the chance of reimplantation is basically nothing. And another thing is you can put it in some milk to rinse off the dirt and stuff, and you can put it in there. But saliva is actually probably a better alternative than milk. So rinse it off with saliva, put it back in your mouth, and wait until you get to the dental office. From there, they'll probably stabilize it, and then more than likely it will get onculose to the bone, which is stuck to the bone. But basically it'll be like a natural implant for you, worst case. But the way that he did it here, he basically guaranteed that he would never be able to get it back in there, and now he's gonna have to get an implant and a crown in that area. Bethany says, and that's on periodontal disease. You don't normally see periodontal disease do this, especially the tooth looks pretty healthy. It doesn't look like it's decayed or rotted in any way. This is more likely due to trauma, getting hit in the face and it coming out. Glenn says, how my teeth fall out in my dreams. And I totally understand that, because actually one of the #1 dreams people have that's common is having their teeth fall out. And he says, y'all, this only happens if you have severe periodontal disease. And no, like I said, this is more trauma. If you want to see periodontal disease, this is what periodontal disease looks like. Trust me, it's gnarly. Now, he very well may have some periodontal disease. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying that more than likely when you see a full tooth come out like that out of the socket that you can put in and out of the socket, that's due to trauma. And you know what? I'm traumatized. How about you guys? All right, braces hack. Gum as wax. What? What? That's actually a good idea? That's actually a really good idea, because there's a couple different ways that you can do that. Obviously, you get the wax from your office, but if it gets wet or stuff like that, it can kind of fall off. There is things like ortho dots or stuff, but this is actually reminds me a lot of one called Gishy Goo, which is where you put these two things combined and you make this thing and then you pop it on the brackets like that. And it almost is exactly the same feel as this gum here. Now, the one thing I would note is don't use sugar gum for this. Okay, you're gonna wanna use sugar-free gum. Actually, it would be perfect if you use something like our Halo gum, because it's got the nanohydroxyapatite and the biofuse that actually kills the bacteria that cause the white spots on your teeth. So that'd probably be a better idea. But you know, I don't have a problem with this at all. Now, it can, if you have too soft of a goopy gum, it can get stuck on the brackets and then cause, you know, it can just be stuck and get nasty. So make sure you use a firmer gum for this. But you know, I actually don't hate this at all. I think it's actually a pretty good idea. Mathilda said, I thought you said use the wax as gum, and I'm not gonna lie, I know all of you guys have chewed your wax as gum, because I did it too. Tell me in the comments, did you ever chew on your wax like gum? Because I 100% did. And then there we go. Cliff says, my dentist actually said I should do this if the gum was sugar-free. Yes, it's gotta be sugar-free. And then also, chewing gum makes your braces move faster. If it's a harder thing, like ours is a chicle base, which is a little bit harder of a gum to kind of work out the teeth and stuff. So it actually does make your braces move faster too. So yeah, this is a great little life hack. I like this one. This is a good one. All right, you guys tagged me in another transformation video, and apparently this girl is not missing teeth here. She was just born with 2 very large gaps in her teeth. So the cool thing about this is if it's equal gaps on top and bottom, then you can actually close it up just fine with braces. And so that's what she's doing. She's going through with her braces and she's closing it up. A lot of the times we see gaps like this formed from expanders and stuff. We create them on purpose. Her body just naturally created them. And so that's kind of crazy. Yeah, you just go up in the wires and you use power chains and you just close it down. Those blue things you see are the power chains to close up that space. And then look at her go. She's already got a little gap, but she's closed up the full on the bottom. And there she is. You see, at 1 year, she's almost closed up. Now, a lot of people are like, why could you not close it up? And that looks really good where she's at. So a lot of people are like, why couldn't you close it up quicker? And why has it got to take a year to just close up some gaps? And it's because if you close up teeth too fast, the bone actually will dissolve because you're overpowering the system. So you have to go very light so it can remodel the bone as those teeth move through to make sure that they're stable in the bone and they don't cause problems later on in life. So yes, it does take time to move teeth, which is why you have braces for 2 years normally, instead of, 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, the king said in the beginning, man, you guys are mean on the internet these days. But the funny thing is, actually, there's families that tell me to leave their gaps because it's all familial, like they all have a gap there between the teeth. And they're like, if you get rid of this gap, I'm gonna be so upset because our whole family's got this gap. So some people actually want the gaps. Big word, it says, must have been hard waking up every day convincing yourself that you're seeing a change. Yes, it does move slow. It takes time, but guys, I'm telling you, braces over time, you see the big difference. You're not gonna see something overnight for sure. The big thing is now just make sure you wear your rubber bands when it comes off because gaps are known to open back up specifically, and maybe get some permanent retainers on the lower and top. If you have a gap that big, they're gonna wanna open back up sometimes. Hope that helps. All right, you guys tagged me in another one. This is a big tonsil stone getting removed. Oh my gosh, with the hook in there. So this guy is what is he? He is an otolaryngologist, which is interesting. Normally you would see like, a dental professional doing this, but it makes sense, ear, nose, throat, stuff like that. So this guy's going scavenging for some big ones. Now what you're seeing there is a bunch of those crypts, which are those little holes that are formed. Some people have them, some people don't. You can get them cauterized and closed down. And so you can see this person has a lot of them hidden back up in there. This is one of the huge causes for bad breath. And the bad breath from tonsil stones smells different than bad breath from volatile sulfur compounds and P. gingivalis, like a morning breath. You can kind of tell. I don't know how to explain it. If you've ever had a tonsil stone and you squished it and you smelled it, you know what I'm talking about. They're pretty wild. When it gets so bad and compacted there, you've got to go in and remove them like that. And yes, it is pretty crazy. It's got a smell in there like wild. This man deserves a Medal of Honor for going into battle like that. One way that you can know that you can have these, obviously you can look back there and you can see if there's a little white spot or something like that, or you can feel something scratching the back of your throat back there that just you can't quite get down, is normally a tonsil stone about to come out. Now, how do you avoid these? Well, you get them out first off. Obviously, we made the first ever water flosser in the world that has a dual motor mode. It has a slow motor mode specifically made with a patented nozzle and a light now in the new version to get rid of tonsil stones. It's really awesome. But once you get them out, regardless of how you get them out, then basically you can gargle with some mouthwash every night. And what that will do is that will keep that area clean and try and get any food and debris out before it starts to compress down into a stone. Artist Lover says, I know that breath was stank. Yes, that was probably some terrible breath. In fun fact, if somebody has diabetes really bad, you can actually smell a difference on their breath. Their breath actually smells sweet because of the ketones. It's pretty weird. I know, trust me, it's wild stuff. Dale says, is it weird that I find this satisfying? And yes. All right, you guys tag me. What are you guys tagging me in? How are his nostrils so big? Did he just say his mouth? Oh no. Oh my goodness. When I give you guys the responsibility of tagging me in this week's videos, I don't mean you should abuse that power, because I feel like I've been abused. I got so many questions though. I know that thing was burning in there. My man is gonna be smelling mint for like the next month and a half after that. How is his nostrils so large? Are they stretched? Is it AI filter? Is this AI? I bet you that's what this is. This has gotta be AI. There's no way that this is real. I know y'all said some crazy stuff in the comments. Someone says, does anyone else need this with the men in black? Yeah, I need that. Please, you guys need to stop tagging me and stuff like this, okay? I'm over it. She said, bro, I was eating. I know. Trust me, I know. And you think this is bad. What about all the videos that you guys tag me that I don't put on here for you guys to see? Yeah, that's right. It gets worse. He said, bro, seriously, how are his nostrils so big? Someone's gotta explain this to me in the comments. It's got to be an AI filter or something. But then again, he got the toothbrush up there, so I don't know. Someone's got some explaining to do. All right, how do I pull the baby teeth?
Are growing in his big teeth. Let me see. Look, this tooth is already in. This tooth still won't come out.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on there. When I tell you I have seen this issue multiple times, and when I say multiple, all the time, this is a really normal thing that happens, and this is exactly what's going on. You see, a lot of times when permanent teeth come in, guess what those baby tooth do? They get wiggly and they fall out. But every now and then you get a baby tooth that is rock solid, and no matter what you do, and yes, even if the permanent tooth comes out underneath it, that tooth does not move. And this is what we call ankylosis. Now, ankylosis just basically means that that baby tooth has fused to the bone a little bit and it's gotten stuck. And so basically it's not gonna fall out. And so even though these teeth literally look like they're about to physically fall out and you could just go and pluck them out like normal, they're pretty rock hard and rock solid. Now, this actually happens a lot in a baby tooth called the E, which is back here. It's actually where your premolars come up, and those get ankylosed all the time. And we actually can tell it's ankylosed because the other teeth will go up higher and this one will stay sunken down. And we also have issues in braces with ankylosed teeth. So if you ever had a canine that got stuck up here and it got ankylosed or stuck to the bone, we try and pull it down. Well, all the other teeth come up and that tooth doesn't come down, and then we have to get it actually pulled because it's stuck. Now, in this position for a baby, it's gonna be pretty easy to get it out of there because you basically just have to kind of pop it and pull it out. It may take a little numbing and a little bit of plier work to get it out of there, but most of the time, ones like these are pretty easy to get taken care of. And I would definitely recommend getting it taken out because it's gonna block some of these other teeth from coming out. And if it really is truly ankylosed to the bone, it's not going anywhere. Let's see if anybody caught it in the comments. Just a lot of people just hating on her for not going to the dentist. I'm sure she probably is gonna take them to the dentist eventually. She's like, do y'all take kids to the dentist today? Girl, go to the dentist. Stay out of my nephew's mouth. Take him to the dentist. If he was going every 6 months for a cleaning, they would have gave you a solution. Listen, I get it. And actually, I mean, she probably was just thinking what most people do, and actually what we tell people to do most of the time is just be like, it's fine, they're gonna fall out eventually, it's not a big deal. And the kid still looks pretty young. But in this case, if it's still hard and the permanent teeth are coming out and it's still not wiggly at all, yeah, you're probably gonna need to go get something done. And as always, I always recommend around 8, 9 years old, I would definitely go to an orthodontist as well, just to make sure everything is going well there, because sometimes we can catch stuff early and we can fix it before it's a problem later. And actually there down below, she said they did go to a dentist. He said that they will be pushed out by the new teeth, but I'm scared because these big ones coming in fast. So like I said, a lot of times when we see that, we're gonna make that initial claim, be like, they're gonna fall out. Now, eventually, if the other teeth are in and they're still hard in there, we understand, okay, well now they're ankylosed, now we gotta get rid of them. So more than likely next time she goes to the dentist, if they're not already out or they haven't fallen out, he's just gonna tell them, let's go ahead and get them out. Either way, still looks pretty funky. All right, I could never brush my teeth with bar of soap. That's weird. Well, that's because it is weird. And look at her go. She's just brushing her teeth. And actually in the thing down below, it says, I love my bar of soap. It gets so sudsy. People think I'm insane or crazy for doing this, but don't complain about pairing soap in their children's mouths. That's a little weird, I'm not gonna lie. And actually, fun fact, that's why a lot of people don't like natural toothpaste, or they have an initial issue with it, is because it doesn't suds enough. And that's actually because of this thing called sodium lauryl sulfate, which, guess what? It's basically just soap. And actually, weirdly enough, it's banned in Europe as well. And so that's why any good toothpaste brand, like our Zero Pro and our regular Zero, we actually don't have SLS, we don't have titanium dioxide, we don't have like all the weird dyes and stuff. So I mean, yeah, I mean, you wanna find a brand that you can definitely trust, but yes, I get it, you guys like the sudsiness, but it's actually not good for you, because it's basically this soap that's in all this stuff. So if it suds a ton, then you wanna look at the back of your toothpaste and you'll probably see sodium lauryl sulfate or some type of sulfate, and that will actually show you that they are actually using this. So unfortunately, a lot of your legacy brands still use it. They have not changed at all. It's actually very few of us that are doing things the right way, I believe. You know, in our Zero, we don't have SLS, titanium dioxide, we don't have fluoride, we don't have all the crazy coloring and stuff, but we do have all the good stuff that's science backed, like xylitol or nanohydroxyapatite. Another cool thing is our biotech product. We're the first in the world to ever do a nanolipid emulsion that actually directly targets the bacteria that cause oral disease for once. So I don't know, maybe just because it's sudsy doesn't mean it's good. And definitely don't think really brushing your mouth out with soap is probably gonna do much at all. In fact, if it's an antibacterial soap, it may kill all your bacteria in your mouth, which is bad. We actually have a lot of good bacteria we don't wanna kill. And that's actually the reason why we're the first ever to do that nanolipid emulsion. It's a biotech product that actually only destroys the bad bacteria without harming the good bacteria. It's the first of its kind. It's actually really awesome. Someone did bring up, she said, can't you just get a toothpaste soap bar instead of an actual soap? But that's actually funny because that actually would be kind of cool. But then it would get kind of messy after a while, though, wouldn't it? Did you curse a lot when you were little? I think a one-time thing as a punishment is different than doing it every single day. And I actually did have to brush my teeth out with soap one day, and it actually didn't taste as bad as I thought it would. And so my mom was like, really? It's not even that big of a deal. And I was like, yeah, it's not that bad of a punishment. But I don't know, have you ever brushed your mouth out with soap, and how did you like it? How to do a root canal.
When a tooth is decayed,
let's see how well they do.
Is the only option left. At the start, the dentist injects anesthetic into your gums, so you don't end up screaming in pain later. Once the numbing kicks in, the dentist uses a high-speed drill to grind away all the dead enamel and dentin.
Actually, we use a slow-speed drill because it churns up and gets all that decay out of there really good. The high-speed drills are actually meant to kind of like polish up and get all the enamel out. But the actual decay, we use a slow-speed round burr most of the time.
After a full round of drilling, the tooth looks clean and
okay, it's all cleaned up. We see
the
it.
more intense part.
You can actually see the canals down inside. And fun fact, this whole area that you're seeing, this kind of hollow out circle area, that's where the pulp of the tooth actually was. So that's where there would be some red stuff, some nerves, some gunk, all that, but it's all been decayed and basically rotted down.
The dentist places a red rubber dam around.
Okay, so we put the rubber dam around the tooth. That's actually to make sure that it's nice and clean and nothing from underneath gets in and infects the area. So you can actually see that's pulling the dead nerve remnants out. And now they're going in with a file to kind of clean out the roots. You can see there's 2 roots on this tooth. That one's a 3-root tooth where you can kind of see the heart shape there.
Are washed out. Next, absorbent paper points are used.
Put some bleach in there to clean it up. We've got these little paper points to clean out all the bleach.
Is placed to fill the empty canal space.
Those little orange things are called gutta percha. They basically just kind of fill the holes. And then now we're going to be filling in the pulp chamber, which is where the nerve was.
The dentist etches the tooth surface with mild phosphoric acid.
Okay, we're etching it with the blue stuff to get ready for the filling material. And then we're going to do this in layers, because if you do it all at once, it will actually shrink and contract. So you got to build it in layers so it stays good. And then he's doing the final polish in there, and that is the tooth.
Shaving it down slightly and covering it with a custom.
And then we put the crown on top. Look at it go.
If you don't want to go through root canal pain, make sure you brush properly every day.
That's true. Definitely a root every day. You need to be brushing your teeth and doing it. Because the problem with root canals is it only is because you let that cavity get worse and worse and worse. You see, if you have a cavity in this area where it's only in the enamel, you can actually fix it with something like a nanohydroxyapatite toothpaste, something like us. We can actually remineralize that area and get rid of it. Now the problem is if you let it go from here to go inside the tooth, or from top inside the tooth, it's going to start to eat away at everything and then get into this pulp chamber, and then the disease, like you can see here, follows down this and then comes out the end. And that's actually what happens if you leave your cavity there. So early ones you can actually fix before it gets through the enamel just by brushing. And then if it gets through a little bit, you want to go ahead and get the cavity filling done before it reaches all that stuff in the center of your tooth. Because trust me, nobody wants to get a root canal. All right, I'm pretty sure I've seen this girl before. Oh man, yeah, it's getting worse. Lost more of this tooth today. I'm not a professional, but I'd say it's not looking good. And in the comment she says, I couldn't even withstand some mac and cheese. So yeah, I mean, that's obviously not good, right? If your teeth are rotting and falling apart like this, unfortunately not doing anything to them and letting them go, kind of like we talked about earlier. If you're starting here and you have a little cavity and then you have a big cavity and then it's filling in everywhere, well, it's gonna start to eat away the pulp. It's gonna start to go down the root canal. It's about to start causing all these issues. And it's not just that, but it happens with your teeth as well. In fact, you can start out healthy and that gum tissue will start to eat away and drop down. And you can actually see it here. You know how you start here and then your bone and everything starts getting eaten away until, guess what? You can just pull the thing out. And if you pause it and look at her canine, I mean, that was her canine tooth, and the whole front of it is completely gone now, which means that a lot of sugar or acid or something is getting on the front of these teeth that's really causing all this decay, and it's not stopping anytime soon. That is kind of wild though. That tooth is literally in half, which I understand why she's in so much pain. And regardless of what caused this, she needs to get it fixed. She needs to go to a dentist. She needs to get a lot of these things pulled. She's probably gonna have to get a majority of her teeth on the upper pulled and probably go into some type of partial denture or implant supported denture. But even then, if she's not taking care of it or whatever is causing this, it's probably just going to cause the implants to fail as well. And a lot of people say genetics is an issue. It's actually not. It's the bacteria that your family is passing around. So it's kind of like familial because you're all spreading the bacteria with each other. So if somebody has a high amount of strep mutans, which is the main bacteria that causes cavities in your family, and they give it to everybody else, well, now they all have the ability to get high. So it's not actually genetics, it's just the bacteria or the oral microbiome. That's actually why we created the first ever biotech toothpaste in the world, the Zero Pro that we have because it uses that nanolipid emulsion. It's the first ever in the history of oral care that actually specifically only targets one type of bacteria. We actually have two nanolipid emulsions. One targets strep mutans, which causes cavities. The other causes gum disease, which is P. gingivalis. Regardless of what happens, she still needs to get this fixed because it's too far gone. Oh my gosh, Chris says, I'm a professional now, hold still. Now, I mean, we're not gonna be punching people in the face here, but she is probably gonna have to get some of those teeth knocked out. And then Kay says, dental assistant here, decay can be caused for several other reasons other than poor hygiene, like pregnancy, true, increases acid, certain medications, yeah, dry mouth and causes a better area for that bacteria to eat away at your teeth. It does say genetics here, but that's not true. It's not actually genetics, it's the bacteria like we talked about. Why you gotta be so mean? Yeah, I mean, it's true. We don't wanna be mean here, guys. We don't know her situation. We don't know how she got into this. So yeah, you don't wanna judge, but unfortunately, regardless of if you're judging, not judging, anything in between, it doesn't mean that it's not real. The problem is not there and she doesn't need to get it fixed. So brush your teeth, and I would definitely recommend brushing with our Zero Pro so you're getting rid of that bacteria at the same time you're taking care of everything else. All right, we got an update.
I'm trying just about everything to get this popcorn out of my throat, and today we're trying a water flosser.
So obviously you guys know my thoughts on water flossers in the back of the throat. I mean, that's actually why we created the first ever water flosser that has the dual motor mode that actually is a safe, soft motor for flushing out the tonsil stones in the back. I've never seen someone do a popcorn kernel, but I can guarantee you that a regular water flosser like she's gonna get is gonna be really painful because they're not meant for that. They're meant to blast through hard teeth tissue. Definitely not meant to be going back into the back of the throat. So let's see how she does.
Oh God! Have you ever used a water flosser before?
Yep. They're meant for between the teeth like that. They're definitely not meant for in the back of the throat.
Oh, that sucks. Something of color just came out.
So yeah, I know what that color stuff was. It was probably, you know, you bleeding because it damages your throat, and actually, like you just said, it hurts your throat and it sucks. And now you're in the ER. But here are my thoughts on stuff like this. So one, she said she got a popcorn kernel stuck in her throat. And I'm sure a lot of people have had stuff stuck in their throat before. Fun fact, almost always there's not something stuck in your throat actually. If it scratches your throat or cuts your throat, well, it's gonna leave this kind of itchy, scratchy sensation that feels like there's something stuck in the throat, when in reality, there's nothing in there. So more than likely, she could be shooting water down into nothing and getting nothing out of it. Now, number two is she's gonna damage it and make it worse by using a regular water flosser. There's a reason we made our AquaClean Duo and why it's one of the top selling water flossers in the world, is because it was not meant for just teeth bashing, which is what a regular water flosser does. It has the high powered modes for flossing in between and doing all that. And then we have the safe motor mode, which actually goes into the flushing with the patented nozzle tips and everything to actually flush out the tonsil stones and the back of the throat, areas like that. It's actually meant for that. If you're using a high powered water flosser, you're just going to literally damage, poke holes in, and hurt and cause more problems. And more than likely, there wasn't even a problem in the first place. She probably just needed to let it heal up and let that stuff get out of the way. Now, if she physically sees it and it's in her tonsil, it may not actually be a popcorn ball or kernel. It could be a tonsil stone, in which this case, AquaClean Duo would be great for that. I know you guys have been asking for this to restock for the past like 2 years or 6 months or wherever, how long it's been. And guess what? Version 2 is gonna be coming out soon in the next couple weeks. So be looking out for that. But if this girl wants one, she can find me, and then we'll try and send her one of the new ones when it comes out. And if the popcorn kernel is still in there and causing problems. Oh my gosh. Wait, what is that thing back? Oh my gosh. Wait, what am I watching? This is all happening so fast. Oh my gosh, so this is from an account called Doc Noy. It says in the caption, DIY braces bad result, which in that case, that's pretty wild. And so actually at the first thing you're seeing there, where they're kind of pushing with their tongue here, is actually, that's a broken off tooth, a rotted out tooth. And in the front, if we go to the next part, oh, that's crazy, bro. That her teeth are literally falling out of her face. This is wild. This is one of the most gnarly videos I've seen in a while. So yeah, I think it would be helpful to once again go back to the thing. So if you have a healthy tooth like this one, well, if you leave it, the bone and everything is gonna start dissolving away, and then you'll see that there's nothing left in there. So if it's rotted out and moving and things like that, well, guess what? That bone and everything is gonna dissolve away with it. And then if there's nothing left to hold it, then yeah, I mean, you can literally just pull it out. Another thing is, if you're doing these DIY braces, a lot of people don't know this, but braces have prescription in them. And the prescription prescription is torque and tilt and tip and all these things. And so if you put the wrong bracket prescription on, you put them upside down, you put something that's meant to do this upside down, and now it's going to pull things out the wrong way, you can actually do this where you rotate and you pull the teeth out of the bone, doing things in a wrong fashion if you don't know what you're doing. So yeah, I mean, DIY braces, plus the other thing too is if you're trying to move teeth on already unhealthy teeth, meaning that you already have some decay, you have some bad root resorption, periodontal disease, and then you just go slapping braces on it, it exacerbates that problem, makes it 10 times worse, 10 times quicker. So I believe I watched this video a little bit longer. She said that she had these on there for 16 years without getting them removed. That's another issue that I see with people doing DIY braces is once they try and pop off the brackets, they realize that there's glue left on their teeth and they don't know how to get the glue off. And they're too afraid to go to the dentist to get the glue off because then they're gonna find out that they did DIY braces. It's not good any way you look at it. Exactly what I'm talking about. That face, and then my face while watching. That really was my face. I think you could probably go back and pause. I was probably like this. I was like, ugh. Danica said, so she did her own braces. I'm assuming the braces pulled her teeth down and out because the placement, like, I don't know how this works. Well, it's probably a lot of things. More than likely, it's just because she never took care of her teeth and let them rot out and never took care of them over the 16 years. Plus the braces on top of it with maybe some bad torques and a bunch of other crazy stuff, making it even harder to keep them clean. And well, now you see where it goes from there. Either way, if you're thinking about doing DIY braces or going to, you know, any of the crazy ones that we've seen on this channel, well, that would be a bad idea because, you know, I want you to keep your teeth forever and not end up in zombie land like that, because those are some crazy looking chompers. No way I paid 20. What the heck? What? $20,000? Okay, first off, hold up. Pause it on the front shot here. Those are, when we say toilet bowl white, that's what toilet bowl white means. The caption here says #veneers. Veneers gone bad. First off, what the heck? Those are not veneers, okay? If you actually go to when she opens her mouth, it is toilet bowl white all the way around the entire teeth, on the back, the front, everything else in between. And so these would have to be, one, either completely fake, like those retainers you put on that are like the fake veneers, or they're full crowns, which we see all the time when people go to like Turkey and get the turkey teeth and stuff. And this would be a very unfortunate shade of white, because once you get so white, you see your teeth are not naturally white. And if you go toilet bowl white, well, they look pretty insane. Another big issue that you see is from the front when she turns to the side, that her teeth are pretty flared out, okay? And so the problem with veneers is they don't actually fix a lot of the bite issues that you may have. And so if you're flared, well, you're gonna be flared with veneers because they're just gonna sit on top, and in her case, crowns across everywhere. I mean, if these really are truly crowns and not just like a snap-on fake veneer or something like that, well then, they're gonna be in trouble because every single one of her teeth is crowned, and eventually they're gonna fall off, they're gonna get ruined, they're gonna get reinfected, things like that. And she's pretty young, so she's gonna have to deal with this for the rest of her life. So let's see if maybe we can figure out if these are fake or not, or see what they say in the comments. Oh my gosh, they have the picture of that one doctor. There was a doctor that painted her teeth white and was making fun of people that literally got veneers just like this. And so yeah, that's kind of how it is. Another one says, they can't be real. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think they're real. I don't know of a doctor who would make them that white. And someone said, it's giving the vampire fang retainers, and that's literally what they look like, just straight up plastic. Oh my gosh, a little dog, and then the guy from Friends, that's funny. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. Let me know if you think it's AI, maybe they're fake, or do you think they just got a really bad case of veneers? All right, me once a month because my appointment is in 2 days. Oh my gosh, getting the rubber band. Yeah, exactly. It says, this is your reminder to get your rubber bands out. Yeah, no, I see this all the time, and I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't work. Not even a little. Because you see, these rubber bands work with small forces over time. You see, and that's why we have to have you wear them all day long. If you guys didn't know, it takes about 8 hours of force on your teeth before those teeth start to move. And then once that happens, they can move really well. But it only takes a couple hours of not wearing them for your body to reset and stop the whole process all from happening again. This is why we tell you to only wear them at night or half the day to maintain where you're at, and wear them full time to actually move your jaw in a different direction. So no, wearing rubber bands 2 days before your appointment is literally going to do nothing for you and will actually not really move your teeth at all. What you really want to do is wear them and then continue to wear them continuously so all that movement continues to happen. Now, the reason why you would have rubber bands is if you have, say, a class 2 overbite or an underbite or something like that. That's the reason why we would need it to actually physically grow your jaw in a certain position. It's almost like there's a reason your orthodontist tells you to wear your rubber bands. That's so weird. Ooh, I like that. Bella says, I use them every second second, I want my braces off as fast as possible. And if you want your braces off as fast as possible, that is exactly how you do it. In fact, I bet you would completely get done with your rubber bands in only like 3 to 4 months of continuous wear, and then you would never have to wear them again. Instead of just wearing them and then taking them off and wearing them and taking them off and wearing them, and then making that cycle repeat over and over again. It says it hurts so much, especially in the mornings. That means that you're probably not wearing your rubber bands enough, because the pain response is the same. If you wear them and then don't wear them and then wear them and then don't wear them, well, then you're gonna keep going back and forth into that pain response. But if you wear them, get through the pain response, and then it continues from there, you're not gonna have much pain after that. That's the reason why the braces are the same way. You're sore for the first 2 weeks, and then you're just not really that sore for the rest of your treatment. And then Nico says, can't relate, didn't waste my dad's money. Ooh, shots fired. But I don't know, do you guys wear your rubber bands, or do you slack on them as well? I know they're tough, I know it's something, but I definitely recommend you wear the crap out of them and get out of your treatment as soon as possible. All right, you guys tagged me a lot, and this is Risey F Baby, the most barbaric form of braces I've ever seen. Okay, can you give me some advice on these? Okay, so I'm not seeing anything too crazy yet. She does have a little narrow palate, so I'm assuming it's probably some type of expander or something, and it does look like it is some metal device that's going in there. Not seeing it. Oh my gosh, that was not, I think that, is that an expander with a tongue crib in there? Oh my gosh, look at that thing. I have it paused, and it does look like it is some sort of expander, maybe in the back side there. It's kind of hard to tell, but those spiky things, which is what you guys are all tagging me and saying, what the heck is all that? That is what we call a tongue tamer, or a tongue crib of some sort. So basically this happens whenever people have what we call a tongue thrust, where they swallow with their tongue, pushing through the middle of their teeth. And what that causes, especially in young kids like this, is an open bite to happen. And so we put these little sharp things on there so that they are forced to not be able to do that anymore and stick their tongue in there and start to actually form what we call an adult swallow, where you push your tongue to the roof of your mouth and do it that way. You guys have probably seen this in the looks maxing circles as like mewing and things like that. And that's basically the same concept. We want to train the right swallow so that your face and everything forms correctly. And it looks like they have the expander back in to widen out that palate at the exact same time, which is actually a pretty good way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Cat says, I had a tongue crib when I was young, and I got used to it super quickly, and now I get compliments on my smile. You did a great thing. Exactly, if you just leave it be and you do things in a completely different way, well, she risks having a lot of problems. A big open bite over time, narrow palate, airway issues, a lot of stuff. So even though this looks crazy, it's actually pretty smart. Sarah said, I had this and a palate expander when I braces. That's like some little tubes to basically jut your tooth in a different way. That's for jaw correction like this. But yeah, we do see that stuff all the time. And Gloss says, she won't need jaw surgery when she's older. Thank God you intervened when you did. And like I said, that's another thing. Yes, I mean, she could have caused jaw issues down in the future. So all this is gonna do is help her, not hurt her. So I know it seems crazy, but it's actually pretty easy to get used to. And 2, it's gonna help her out a lot. I don't know, still pretty wild looking though. All right, you guys, oh my gosh, you guys, why are you tagging me in this? Okay, yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. Just pause on that front smile there. You know, that's that reminds me of one of those scary movies. I don't know, like Slender Man or something like that. You know, there's something out there. Somebody knows what it is. They can tell me in the comments. But the interesting thing is when I see this, a lot of people don't realize that people's face shapes are different, and they normally go into 2 different areas. One is a long face, and one is a short face. The long face is called dolichocephalic, and so she actually has what we call a long face. This is where you're very stretched out and very long. And a lot of times you have these maxillary excess here where you see all that gum tissue, very long and extended and skinnier faces. And the other side is someone actually kind of like me. I have a bradycephalic, which is more the square shape, which is more the shorter, squattier, the jaws in here that are very flat instead of angled way out. You know, good for the looks maxing though, you know. And so when I see people's faces all the time, a lot of people don't realize this, but I can tell if you have underbites, overbites, bradycephalic, dolichocephalic, all these different things that we see in somebody. It's kind of interesting because yes, you guys see scary, weird, definitely. I don't know what's going on here. Someone's got to clue me in here, but I see all the ways that a face and a body can develop. Oh my gosh, I think I get it now. You guys are posting like brush your teeth and the ghost breath. I didn't even think to look at the teeth. I mean, her teeth look pretty straight. Like, yeah, they do look a little yellow stained. She's probably a coffee or a tea drinker. She probably has some white makeup on or something like that, or lighter skin tone, which makes her teeth look a little more yellow. But I think she just has stained teeth. I don't think they're like rotting out or anything bad like that. So I don't think you have to be too mean about brushing your teeth or anything like that. Maybe, is that why you guys tagged me in this a lot? I didn't know why you guys tagged me. Oh my gosh, that, yeah, no, they definitely, like when you have a dolichocephalic really wide, They're the ones that have that really big wide opening that they can do there like that, which is pretty wild. Someone's got to tell me who the scary person is that this reminds me of. I know it's somebody. I can't remember what it is. All right, what do we got here? Oh my gosh. Holy moly. Jake Paul's at it again with his crazy bionic teeth. Imagine if that's real. Like, obviously, we know this is fake. But let's pause it here. What this actually would be going on. So it looked like he would have full metal crowns on the top, full metal crowns on the bottom, an extra row of teeth on the bottom, and then a bionic jaw, which it looks like they cut into the side of his mouth, fully replace the whole entire side jaw and down. You know, the crazy part is eventually we're probably gonna become bionic, like half robot, half people. So this probably isn't far off what'll probably happen, you know, 50, 100 years from now, but still pretty gnarly to see. Obviously, no, he did not actually do this, guys. This is AI. Let's watch that one more time. That's kind of crazy. He's got the little jaw effect on there. I don't know. What do you guys think? This kind of reminds me of like some cyborg type stuff. I guess there probably is people that have lost their whole entire lower jaw and have some type of lower jaw prosthesis. What about you? Would you get a metal lower jaw? I don't know. I don't know if I would or not, although I do think some cyberpunk stuff's coming in the future. Oh my gosh, the guy from One Piece with the metal jaw. Yeah, it's like something like that, definitely. Yeah, the other metal jaw, and this person says, is this real? No, it is not real, guys. There's no way you're getting faked out by AI that hard. And then Frankenstein said, boxing isn't child's play. Remember that. Imagine if you had a metal jaw while you were boxing and you just would destroy everybody's knuckles because it's just so hard. But yeah, he's probably just the guy from One Piece as far as I know. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. Thanks. I've worn my braces for over 8 years and my teeth aren't still straight. Oh my gosh, he says the gap should hopefully close now. My jaws are aligned. Holy moly. So let's pause it. This is what we call a skeletal issue, okay? There's a lot of people that come in asking me if they need surgery and they just have a little bit of an underbite, a little bit of an overbite, something that gets fixed with braces. This is what a true jaw surgery patient looks like. More than likely for her, she has a recessed maxilla or a very back upper jaw, basically. And so what happens in braces now, 8 years is probably because she's been doing this for a really long time since she was a little kid. She probably needed something when she was 8 or 9 in phase 1 therapy, got a couple years off, came back, and now she's doing this. And in these jaw surgery patients, things end up looking worse before they get better. It's called decompensating the jaw. So we want to make the jaw as bad as possible so that we have as much room as possible to bring the jaw that's the problem forward. If we get it really close and we do the jaw surgery, we can only move the jaw up a little bit. But if we make it bad or worse, then we have all this room to bring that lower jaw perfect and get the profile from the side exactly what we want it to look like. They're getting ready for surgery right here. Basically, what's going to happen is they're going to do the surgery once all the teeth are aligned. Now they're going to close the spaces and then they're going to do the jaw surgery. Still pretty wild. This would be what we call a severe class 3 or a severe underbite. Literally the first comment, girl, you need jaw surgery. Yes, she does. She needs jaw surgery. Oh my gosh, the open dresser there. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, you could literally just like drop stuff in like a dresser drawer in there. Oh my gosh, people are so mean. She was saying her teeth were straight. It's just like, your teeth are straight, your jaw isn't. Yes, we understand. We get that point. We understand that point. What's the face says, man, I'm not saying crap about my tiny overbite. Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, don't complain. If you have to wear rubber bands to fix your tiny little overbite or overjet, be happy, because that means you're not in this position and you're not going to need a full jaw surgery to fix it. So yeah, maybe let's just all be thankful. We should all be thankful for the things that we do and don't have. You know what I'm saying? What did you guys tag me in here? Oh my gosh. Pick the wrong toothpaste. Wisdom tooth blotted out. Face with liquid dye activated. Save yourself. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I spy with my little eye. First off, I'm pretty sure that this is AI, but that does not mean that this does not actually happen. So, because it does. So let's go through the whole thing here. Pick the wrong toothpaste. Could be true, because you know you need protection for your teeth, and unfortunately you get scammed by a lot of these natural toothpaste that don't have any protective things in there at all. And so yes, you can get cavities or wisdom teeth problems if you're brushing with a non-fluoridated, non-nanohydroxyapatite. Obviously the pinnacle of toothpaste is our new biotech toothpaste that has for the first time ever a nano bioemulsion to actually destroy the bacteria that cause cavities. We don't need to get into that. But if you don't have a toothpaste that protects you, you can get cavities. The next thing is your wisdom teeth rotted out. Yes, you can have an impacted wisdom teeth, or wisdom teeth can be halfway out, halfway in. They're really hard to clean, which means they're even easier to rot out and get a decay in. And this actually happens to a lot of people. This is why we tell people to get their wisdom teeth out, basically because it's not an if your wisdom teeth are gonna have a problem, it's when they're gonna have a problem, okay? And so what happens is they do really blow up, just like the side of our face is all kind of blown up like that. That really does happen. They get abscessed and then it goes and blows out, and guess what? Then you have to go to the emergency room. And the even scarier part is how this blows up here. There's actually this thing called the cavernous sinus here, and sometimes if the infection is on the upper wisdom teeth, it can actually go into the cavernous sinus, into the brain, and take you out, you know, which is actually really sad to see that that does happen, just because people didn't want to get their wisdom teeth out, or they got infected and they just didn't want to deal with it until it was too late. So can this happen? Yes. Get your wisdom teeth out, especially if they're impacted or they're halfway in and out and they're really hard to clean. Please get them out. Save yourself the trouble of this happening. Obviously, is it this crazy looking most of the time? No, it's a lot of like smaller, big ones, but I have seen some pretty massive ones that look like this. And even though this is AI, it does not mean that this can't happen. And so they are right. So I would definitely, one, get a toothpaste that works. Preferably, I would get R0 Pro toothpaste because it's the first one that actually kills the strep mutans that causes cavities, which is the biggest issue. And it has the nanohydroxyapatite and all that to protect yourself as well. You can also get a fluoridated toothpaste as well if you like the fluoride and stuff like that. And then just make sure you're brushing and taking care of your teeth. And then lastly, get your wisdom teeth out if they're impacted. Brandon says, I do not claim this negative energy. Me neither, Brandon, me neither. All right, you guys tagged me in this. Another video. We got some braces on here. Oh, we're putting a little tat in with, oh, that's a sliding jig. I have not seen one of those in ages, but normally all right, so let's explain what we have going on here. So at first, we have what's called a class 2. You can have 3 different types of bites. You can have a class 1, which is a perfect bite. You can have an underbite, which is a class 3. And you can have an overbite, which is the class 2, sticking way out there. And so what they did here was they put that little golden screw that you see going in there is a TAD. And a TAD is a temporary anchorage device. It screws into your bone and allows you to pull the teeth in ways that we can't do with traditional braces. And so by doing that, attaching the little power chain to sling down here and this little thing called a distal jig, which is kind of interesting. You don't really see these or use these hardly ever, but this is pretty smart. It'll actually pull and push those teeth back into the back of your jaw, making room for the rest of those teeth to come in forward. Now this is actually, we used to do this back in the day by pulling 2 teeth out in the front and then pulling everything back. Obviously there was a lot of issues there. So this is a way to do it without having to do it. Now personally, I like just wearing the rubber bands because if there's an issue with the lower jaw that maybe it hasn't grown enough or something like that, that rubber band will push these guys forward and this back at the same time. So then you get the benefits of both of those. And it works just as fine too. And so no, you're not gonna probably get this. This is a very specialized way of doing it, and I don't think I've known any orthodontists who are actively doing this as their just normal way of doing it. But still, if you do have to get TADs or anything like that, don't worry, they're not that painful. I will say that though, this will work way quicker than the others because it's attached to your bone and that bone will just move anything anywhere. Alex said, me getting my braces soon and my teeth is crying. That's a good one. You're probably not gonna have to get this, but you will get some rubber bands, so just make sure you wear the crap out of those rubber bands and you'll be just fine. Said New Fear, I'm like, wait, is she wiping her tears with the hamster? What are you guys doing these days? I never know what you guys are gonna do in the comment section. And someone else said, I have overbite, but actually funny enough, that's not an overbite. That's what we call an overjet, how much it sticks out. Overbite is actually how much your teeth overlap up and down. Fun fact, I bet you didn't know that. Either way, don't worry, you're probably not gonna have this. All right, you guys said the yellow and white color waiting to be picked. Since TikTok said they stay teeth, oh no. I will say that that does happen a lot, and I don't even know why people order yellow. I've literally seen maybe one person get it in my entire existence of having braces. I've seen some people get white once and then they end up never getting it again because it stains almost instantly. And my funniest one is the people that come back that eat a lot of Takis and they're just stained complete red, but they started out white. I will say there is, if you really want white, there is some pearl version, like a pearlescent version of white that does a really good job that doesn't stain. So if you do want a white, look for that. Avoid yellow, avoid green, like a lettuce green, avoid brown, none of those. They just make it look like you got food and gunk in your teeth. Nobody wants wants that. My favorite colors are like a dark purple, a dark navy, a teal, a hunter green. Those all look really good. Naomi says, white braces seem fire. I don't know what you guys are on. And I'm not gonna lie, I get it. It probably would look good, but the problem is the white next to your teeth make your teeth look way yellower into the staining. That's why I said if you do have the pearl version, the pearlescent version, go for that if you really wanna try out a white look. Yellow shouldn't even be an option. I agree. I don't know, what's your favorite color on braces? Let me know down below. All right, let's see another video. This is braces over time.
Metal, and you keep running your tongue over it. You try to bite an apple. Fatal mistake. The pain is electric.
That's totally true. On day one, the braces are gonna be a little bit funky, and yes, you are gonna be very sore, but it's a muscle soreness, almost like you worked out really hard. It will go away in 2 weeks though. Let's continue.
You look in the mirror and think, what did I get into?
You will.
Day 7. Food is the
We're
enemy.
a week now.
Everything gets stuck.
Still sore about a week, that makes sense. You're getting used to brushing, all that.
You live on soups and smoothies while watching your friends devour pizza and popcorn right in front of you. Day 30. The magic begins. The gaps start to close. Your bones begin to transform. Little by little, they move from place to place.
That's exactly right. By 30 days, you're already starting to see some initial movement in these light wires, and if you're really crowded, they'll start to unravel really nicely. This is the point where people start to get really excited, for sure. And also, the pain is pretty much gone, too.
Day 180.
180,
your face
so what is
changes,
that,
your jaw is better defined, and your throat widens. Your confidence shoots to the sky.
I will say that we do see a huge increase in confidence. I don't know about throat widening. That doesn't really happen. But I will say that you will see some expansion because, especially if you're a non-extraction orthodontist like myself, we're trying to always expand and make it as wide as possible to give you the best airway, for sure.
You're no longer embarrassed to smile, even with brackets.
It's true. We do see a lot of smiles.
They come off. Your teeth feel super smooth and slippery. You have a Hollywood smile. You didn't just fix your teeth, you upgraded your whole face. Worth every second.
That's actually so true. And one of my favorite parts about being an orthodontist is the day you get them off. Yes, one, you're gonna feel super slimy and weird. It's gonna feel totally foreign to you, almost like you're naked. You know, you got all this stuff off and you don't know what to do. But I will say, you're so happy. Mom's crying, you're crying, everybody's hugging each other, and they all thank the orthodontist, which is really cool. And it's one of my favorite things about being an orthodontist. Super privileged to be able to have this as a job, because making Hollywood smiles in people that didn't have it before is a really, really cool deal. How long did you get your braces though? How long did it take to get your Hollywood smile braces? Average is about 1.5 years. So if you're over that, you had a harder case. If you're under that, you had an easier case. Let me know. How to get the perfect white teeth. Obviously we know how to do this. Cover your teeth with toothpaste. Leave for 5 minutes. Take a big mouthful of milk. Swish for 1 minute and enjoy the results. Another day, another whitening routine. Okay, so first off, putting toothpaste on your teeth like that and waiting 5 minutes could be good for fluoride, you know, things like that, or like, you know, trying to get the effects on your teeth and stuff like that. That's actually why we tell you not to rinse after you brush your teeth, because we want that stuff to stay on your mouth and give the effects there. So that's not a problem at all. But is it gonna whiten? No, it's not gonna whiten your teeth at all. And rinsing out afterwards 5 minutes with milk, I get what he's thinking, calcium maybe or something like that. It's not gonna whiten your teeth or anything. Fun fact, milk, it has a lot of sugar and carbohydrates and stuff in it, and it can actually rot your teeth out. It's actually really, really bad for your teeth. So people think that, like, oh, it's gonna give you strong bones and stuff. No, it does not give you strong teeth. It actually rots them out. So much, in fact, we have this thing called baby bottle caries, where moms will leave these baby bottles in these kids' mouths and let them sleep with them in their mouth, and the milk will literally rot their teeth instantly, just rot them away. Just over a couple nights. It's really bad. So you do not wanna leave your milk in your kid's mouth, one, and you definitely don't want to be rinsing out with it every night before you go to bed, because you're basically just putting sugar water all over your mouth, and then you're going to bed and letting just the cavities start decaying away. Does this really work? Won't this hurt sensitive teeth? No, it does not work, and it will actually probably hurt your sensitive teeth and make it worse. Yeah, so probably just don't. Who else checked the comments to see if this was real? That's the problem, is because a lot of you guys will believe this and will do it, and that's why I do what I do, is so you're educated and you know what's the truth and what's fake. It's actually why we created Something Nice too, my company, was because I was tired of seeing scam products. So if you want some good products, shout out my company, Something Nice. Who knows, man, next time you know they're gonna be swishing their mouth with battery acid or something. Don't do that either, by the way. Okay, apparently you guys told me that parrots actually remove your baby teeth if you put it in there, and I didn't believe it, and then somebody sent me this video.
You pulled it out!
Dude, those parrots are literally just, what makes it want to eat the baby teeth? Maybe it thinks it's like a seed or something? Oh my gosh, it's just going right for it. My boy, it looks like he's literally brushing his teeth with a parrot. Is this like a parrot thing? I am so confused right now, but I need to get 4 of these for my dental office ASAP. Imagine all these parrot assistants here. How does it know which one is loose and which one isn't? That's the thing I don't understand. Like, why doesn't it go for a tooth that's not about to be pulled? How does it know which one is loose? I don't know. Is this a thing I think this is Vietnam. Is this a thing in Vietnam? Is this a thing in Asia that I didn't know about? You guys have parrot dentists? I want a parrot dentist. Although they do have very tiny hands, so that the whole drilling and filling would be a little bit tough. Oh my gosh, a little picture of a dentist parrot there. God gave us natural free dentists, but who are we? And then Minnie says, OMG, they're such gentle dentists. And I was like, they did a pretty good job, weirdly enough. I don't know why. Someone tell me why parrots are actually good at dentistry. Next thing you know, you're gonna tell me those fish that eat the goop off your teeth are good too. I don't know, I'm gonna go to somebody's house and they're gonna have parrots and fish and I'm gonna say, you're weird, I know exactly what you're doing. Okay, you guys said this guy, oh, what? Okay, yeah, those look like temporary veneers or composite ones. Wait, is he actually doing his own? That's legit like the composite stuff that you use to make like a composite veneer. Dude, he's got the whole light. Is he doing this on a subway? You know, I'm not gonna lie, low key, he didn't do a bad job. Obviously, it's not gonna be permanent. That's why he can pop it off, because he didn't etch his tooth. I'm looking at it again. Yeah, like honestly, he's doing a pretty good job. Like normally they have these little tools and they'll kind of push it around and they'll edge it and they'll do everything. But my man just doing his own composite veneers on the subway, just like another day. I don't know where this is located, but just another day in wherever. So the real question you guys are asking me is, can I do this or no? One, no, because well, there's a lot of health issues. You could do overhangs. If you're leaving them on there, then you can cause decay and stuff to get up underneath them, cause cavities, things like that. But if you wanted to do it temporarily like he did and just wear it for a day and pop them off, I don't see what's the issue. I mean, I don't know how, like, where's he getting all this stuff? Is he whatever? But I will say one thing, my man's got potential. He could be a little assistant. He could be a dental tech and do these for real. He might actually be one. That's probably how he knows how to do all this stuff. I wouldn't doubt it if he was a dental tech. I'm not gonna lie, low-key, not bad. Not bad. I mean, obviously the problem you see with these composite veneers is they're super opaque, which means they're just a flat color, and they're like a flat white. So they do look kind of really fake, opposed to like a porcelain veneer that's kind of more see-through, but still, not a bad idea. I just don't know what I would do if I saw a guy on a train subway next to me doing this. I'd be like, wow, that's really interesting. That's crazy, honestly. Oh my God, Will hit him with the horse teeth. Yeah, that's one of the issues with these is they do look very fake because they're very white, and they can give you that little horse teeth look. But I don't know, would you do this or no?
It hurts so bad, Mom. I don't know what to do.
Let me see, honey. Oh, yeah, like that.
It hurts so bad.
Oh, I hate to see that. It says, when your mom says, I told you to brush better, and you cry over a cavity, a generation. That is not a cavity. That's multiple cavities. I don't know if you can pause it. She's got that one in the back, but yeah, when she just pauses with her mouth open, you can kind of see down here all this decay and brown stuff going on. This is tough. It almost looks like, it can be a lot of things, you know. A lot of times it's dental neglect, sometimes from anxiety, from not brushing, maybe from a parental structure that just doesn't teach you how to properly brush your teeth or show any importance in it at all. And it's really sad because it says in the main description, it says, when your mom says, I told you to brush better as you cry over a cavity. I hear that a lot because, you know, unfortunately, a lot of times if you're not disciplining your kid enough to force them into a good regime, if you're putting it on them and they're a child growing up, they're not going to brush their teeth because they're a kid. They need some force. They need some understanding there. But the big thing is why she got that cavity. And it's because of the bacteria. It's strep mutans. And, you know, we've never really had a way to get rid of that, you know, until now. Early fluoride toothpaste, nanohydroxyapatite toothpaste, those are meant to try and strengthen to help protect. But if they don't brush them with anything, it's not gonna help. Now, our new Zero Pro that we have, which is the first ever biolipid emulsion, it's a biotech toothpaste, actually specifically destroys strep mutans for this reason. It's because she was given that strep mutans by her mother, or her father, whoever drank and kissed after her, gave her oral microbiome. And so if she didn't have that bacteria in her mouth, she would never get decay at all. And that's why we created our Zero Pro, our first ever biotech toothpaste in the world. and it's to be able to finally take care of the cause of the oral disease, which is the bacteria Strep mutans. I mean, imagine if her mother used our toothpaste, got rid of Strep mutans, and then had her as a kid. Even if she didn't do as good of a job brushing, she wouldn't have gotten all those cavities, or it would have been a much less likely chance she would have gotten those cavities. It really sucks hearing this and seeing this, but hopefully all this work we're doing with something nice and with all of our products, our goal, if you guys don't know, is to make it to where brushing your teeth is obsolete, where we've literally solved all of oral care and all of oral disease. That's our goal, and that's what we're starting to do with these new biolipid emulsions and these biotech toothpaste and gum we're putting out, which is the Halo Gum and the Zero Pro. I'm not trying to plug my products here. Obviously, they're great, and you want to look into them, that's great, but I just hate seeing this because it's something that I see all the time, and it's why I'm so passionate about what I do. So it just really sucks. Just know, in her eyes, what she's got to do is basically she's got to get into a dentist now. She's got to get this decay cleaned up. I would love it if her mom reaches out, I'm more than happy to send her some Zero Pro and some of our biotech stuff to start getting rid of the Strep mutans in her mouth so she can't get cavities, or the chance of it is way less as she gets all this decay covered up, and uncovered and fixed and everything, because that's really sad. But the problem is if she just leaves it, they're going to get worse, and she's going to lose her permanent teeth forever, and that's even worse. So I know it sucks. I know she's crying. Yeah, mom's probably not helping that much, but you got to get it done. Yeah, and Declan was like, record my son in pain or take him to the dentist. I don't know, such a hard decision. I don't know, there's probably more than you know to the story, as there always is, but still, it's not something that I like to see. And then CX Bobby says, my boy is autistic and I am on top of him when it comes to his teeth because he almost lost them once. Now 12 and he's only had one cavity. And that's great to hear. You have to be on your children about this, moms, dads, everything. Step 1, be on them about their oral care, and step 2, I would really highly recommend you try our Zero Pro, the only toothpaste in the world that actually directly eliminates the cause of oral disease, which is the bacteria Strep mutans and P. gingivalis are the two we target. So really seriously look into it. It's a great product, and I think it would help a lot of families avoid this situation, which I think is really important. The night my intrusive thoughts won, and I pulled out my permanent retainer for no reasons. Oh my gosh, she's got both of them out there. Okay, so I got a couple questions about this one. The first question I had was, what the heck? And I was like, yeah, I know. I mean, it definitely happens because if you guys don't know, permanent retainers are the worst because 1, they're not permanent. They break all the time, you don't know it, and then a tooth shifts, and then you're screwed over and you gotta go back into braces again. That's the first thing I hate about it. 2 is they just get a ton of calculus buildup around them. It's hard to clean. You end up getting periodontal disease, bone loss, and those black triangles over time. We see them specifically in like 30, 40-year-olds that got them when they were 20 and they've been there for 10 years. It exacerbates that problem a ton. You can see she has a thin, flexible one and then a hard, rigid one. Those are both of the different ones that you see. Either way, I don't like either of them. I'm not gonna lie. And so she can just go ahead and get a regular retainer. I would still recommend, that's actually what we do. We try not to do permanent retainers unless you got a big gap or a big rotation that we need to hold. But yeah, I would highly recommend just going with a regular retainer. They're gonna protect your teeth from grinding at night. They're gonna hold everything in place just fine and allow you to clean, floss, and get everything perfect, nice in between. So I would definitely not regret removing a permanent retainer on myself, but she does need to get some type of retention there to make sure that her teeth don't shift, because those retainers were doing what they're supposed to, retain. And then Princess says, hey besties, so I did this and they had to redo my braces. Exactly, so you don't wanna do this and then not have any type of retention. So as long as you're going back to your orthodontist saying like, I couldn't handle it anymore, it was the worst, just give me some retainers, you're gonna be just fine. And I said what it says, literally removing my permanent retainers were the best decision I ever made. I had one on there for maybe like a week and I was like, I cannot handle this. I've seen too much crap in my patients over the years. Literally the worst is one tooth will break, that tooth will shift so much and then they'll come back in and they'll be like, why can't you can't just make me a retainer to fix it? No, you've got to go back in braces, and that is annoying for everybody. So now we don't do the permanent retainers unless we have to. We give them the clear ones. I say, you better wear this freaking thing or else your teeth are gonna shift. Now we're all in agreement that this is gonna happen. They do it, and guess what? Their teeth don't shift, and they keep everything nice and clean. All right, you guys tag me in. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is not diamond braces. We saw some of those diamond braces earlier, but look at those gold braces. That's actually crazy. Let's pause it there and take a look. Okay, so she has not all gold braces, interestingly enough, only in the visible areas. And then when you're not visible, they're using silver brackets, which is kind of interesting there. I actually really like these gold braces. And yes, if you did not know, they do make gold colored braces. And the coolest thing to me is when we looked at these, they actually show them on the same exact tooth color. And they actually do make your teeth look a lot whiter. I don't know if it's because they're more yellow yellow, and so they're making your teeth look whiter comparatively, but they do make your teeth look whiter. The only issue that I've found is that from far away, they can kind of look like you got some yellow gunk in your teeth sometimes. And two, they don't really carry them in the newer type of self-ligating braces that we use, so we don't have to extract on people and all that type of stuff. So there is really only a certain subset of people that offer these, and it's not quite a lot. And for me personally, I would rather use the best technology on you to give you the best result for that Hollywood smile that you're gonna have for the rest of your life, instead of just having some gold, fun, shiny stuff on. Let's see what people say in the comments though. Ethan said gold braces are so expensive, and actually that's not the case. I mean, they're maybe slightly more expensive, but they really aren't too. But it's really because they're using the old school style brackets versus the new ones. So actually these are probably cheaper than the good stuff, which is like the self-ligating bracket. It says every time bro smile, money. Yeah, I know what I mean. It does definitely elevate the look for sure. It makes it look fancier for sure. I don't know, would you guys rather have gold brackets or would you rather have diamond brackets? I've seen some of them diamond brackets, they look good too. But hear me out, diamond brackets. If you guys make these in gold, I will get some ASAP. You know what I'm saying? Because we're trying to look good in my clinic. All right, what do we got? Checking the bite with porcelain veneers. Okay, yeah, you guys tagged me a bunch and said, what the heck is this little paper thing that they're using? And what is the point of them sliding it around? And so you see here, we're in the front, we're doing it. We're tap it in the back, and then we're gonna slide again, and look at that, the paper ripped. So exactly what is this? This is bite paper. And so a lot of people in the comments are basically like, I've never seen this. They don't do this to me when I'm in the dental chair. And that's actually probably a good sign, because that means you haven't had really any dental work yet, because this is done after like a crown, veneers, or composite filling or something like that. And what it is we're checking for high spots on the teeth. So when you do this and we're checking the bite, we're seeing what's hitting harder in some areas or lighter in some areas. And a lot of times this is when you get a crown and it's too high, or a composite filling and it's hitting in a weird spot or anything like that. Because if you even hit a tiny bit hard in one little area, it will cause that tooth to be super sore. I can almost guarantee you, for somebody watching this out there, they've gotten a crown, a filling or something, and all of a sudden their teeth feel like it hurts super bad, and they think that they have another cavity or something like that that's going on, when in reality it's just because your crown or your filling that you got is just a little slightly too high. And then we go in there, we see these little dots that it leaves, and then we can polish them away to adjust your bite. And so when she's sliding them there, we're sliding it in the front to make sure that we're not getting anything catching up, because then that means that we're hitting hard somewhere in the front. You don't want to hit really hard on these front teeth. And on the back there, when you get it in there, well, obviously you're going to be biting on your back teeth, so it's going to grip and it's going to hit. But you know, it is what it is. You just don't want it to be too high in certain spots. You want it to be really evened out between everywhere. And the reason you haven't had this done is probably because you haven't had many issues. You haven't had a crown, you haven't had a filling, and you haven't had bite issues that you've complained to your dentist about, to have to check and see if your bite's all wobbage out. And someone said, I don't understand, doesn't sliding the paper between the teeth ruin the pattern on the bite paper? Not really, it's transferred to the tooth, so you'll see these little blue spots on the teeth, and sliding them is just really just checking to see how is your bite really pressing together or not, or is it pretty loose, which in the front you want it to slide through because you don't want a lot of heavy contacts there. Someone said, I hate the little paper moment because suddenly I forget how to normally bite. And that actually happens a ton. And in fact, when we tell people in the braces land, hey, go ahead and bite down for this photo, they go like this, right along their front teeth. And that's not actually how you bite. If you want to know your true proper bite, all you have to do is stick your tongue near the roof of your mouth, as far back as you can go, put it to the roof of your mouth as far back as you can go, and then bite down. And what that does is we'll pull everything back up into the area that's supposed to and give you your perfect bite. And so from there, you can see if you have issues or not. Either way, another cool thing in the dental office. All right, Ortho said they wouldn't fix this gap without paying an extra $2K, because my goal was only to straighten the teeth. Before braces, I did not have this gap. Okay, let's pause it here at the top. Okay, I see what she's talking about. She's got a little bit of a spacing between her front and back teeth, which means that she probably has what we call a class 2 bite, meaning your upper jaw has maybe grown a little bit too fast, your lower jaw hasn't grown enough, maybe a little bit of both in there, but she obviously has this gap here. Make sure you go to an orthodontist if you're trying to get your teeth straightened and your bite fixed, okay? Because a lot of dental professionals out there are not trained well enough in the orthodontic side. If you guys don't know, when you come out of dental school, you have almost zero training in orthodontics. That means you have no idea what to do. Okay, now obviously some dentists do go on and get some CE courses, they get some training, and some of them actually do really good work out there. But in my eyes, from what I've seen, that is the minority. And so what ends up happening is they say, we can straighten your teeth, but they have no idea what the bite issues is, how to fix the bite issues using rubber bands, all of these things that we need to do. With this is a pretty easy fix. You just need some rubber bands top to back, pulls them together, and then in a couple months it would be all fixed up. But basically what's happening is the dentist doesn't really know what he's doing probably. He's straightened the teeth as best as he can, and now he's stuck, doesn't quite know what to do, and so he's saying, hey, you gotta pay me some more money because I just came here to straighten these teeth. And so what happens is you get in this crossroads where you're like, I thought you were going to fix my bite. And they're like, I thought you just wanted me to straighten your teeth. I didn't know there was a difference. And then you end up in a bad situation. Now, if you go to an orthodontist, they will also try and fix your bite. So we are a holistic mouth doctor, right? We're trying to fix the bite. We're trying to make sure the teeth are not in the wrong spots. We're also trying to get it Hollywood, perfect smile, symmetrical, all of these things, E-lines, FMAs, all these crazy things that we're looking at to make sure that your bite and your mouth and everything that you have is perfect and healthy. And I wish I didn't have to say that, but I see this all the time where people come from dentists, they come to our orthodontist, and then we have to fix the bite issues that they leave be. Now, once again, I don't want to say every dentist is bad at orthodontics, because they're not. There are some probably that are really good at orthodontics. But still, it's a decision that I've seen cost patients thousands of dollars having to get it refixed by an actual orthodontist. And then this girl says, literally all you had to do is change 4 brackets and the ones where you can wear bands. And yeah, I mean, we don't have to get into semantics of it. She probably just needed some rubber bands, some slight changes. But then I also want to say that it can be some other things. Maybe she was delinquent, maybe she never showed up, maybe she never paid, and maybe the guy's just tired of her and trying to get her out. That could very well be a possibility too that we can't deny here. Then another girl says, girl, sue him, get sued for $5K, another $5K to get it fixed, another $5K for emotional damage, another. Okay, let's not go crazy here. It's not that deep. If you really feel like you're wronged here and the dentist knows that you're gonna go to another orthodontist and they're gonna be like, what the heck are you doing here? And yes, we can see all of the history and all of the notes. So if you were delinquent on payments or not doing what you're supposed to be, not showing up, we're gonna also see that too. And we will call you out on that. If they were doing something wrong like that, they're probably gonna give you some money back, or it's not a big deal. You know, they will get it figured out, trust. But your best line of defense, like I said, is going to an actual specialist who actually knows what they're doing, whose full job is to do this in a holistic manner, the bite and the look of the bite. Okay. Me when my braces
So what does this mean? Does this mean I literally just bought Ratatouille for nothing?
Okay, yeah, I totally understand this. Basically, this is a rare case, and more than likely, your braces did not give you that gap more than likely. It's actually probably an expander, because that is the #1 reason I see gaps form in people. Because if you did not know, your upper skull is actually made of 2 pieces. The maxilla is actually 2 different parts that are completely unseparated down the middle. And in fact, in the looks maxing trend circles, people are trying to do stuff about this by doing this thing called thumb pulling. Put their thumbs and they'll try and pull apart. Unfortunately, does not really work, because you need full force and you need it located and you need it consistent over a long time. So unless you're gonna be thumb pulling your entire day, all day long, it's probably not gonna do what you think it does. But anyways, what we do is we put this rapid palatal expander up in the roof of your mouth, and then you use this key and you turn it, and it will push and push and push those 2 pieces of your upper bone away from themselves. So when that suture breaks down the middle and everything shifts and moves, well, a gap forms. And sometimes you can get gaps the whole width of 1 whole tooth there in the middle. And so yes, especially if you've got an expander like this, at the very beginning, you will get a little bit of a gap as they're trying to expand out that palate. Now, luckily for you, it will go away pretty quickly, because once you stop moving, all of those PDL fibers will pull those teeth back together and they'll start to close up. A lot of the time that gap will close up on its own even, but then you're gonna be in braces, so we're gonna fix it with power chains and other things like that anyways. Like, exactly, she just said, update, I just got power chains. Exactly, that's the next phase. You get the wires up to the right size, and then you put the power chains on there, close them all up. So trust me, it's not a forever thing. You're not gonna definitely have that gap forever, unless you want it. There is some patients I've had sometimes they're like, I want to keep my gap, don't you dare take it away from me. And then Hill's like, girl, trust the process. I had it too. Exactly, it's a pretty common thing. So like I said, there's a lot of weird things that happen in braces and orthodontics. I mean, you're gonna see teeth shift in a lot of different places, and we even have a saying that says it's gonna look worse before it looks better sometimes, you know. Trust the process. If you went to an orthodontist that's trained and has a master's and everything, trust me, they know what they're doing. It may take a little bit of time to get there, but I promise you by the end you'll have that Hollywood smile that you've always wanted. Still, I get it, it's a little scary. What we got there? Oh, 2 rows of teeth. Oh my gosh, well look at that. That is a very interesting thing to look at. This is actually kind of common. Not normally for 4 teeth, but it is definitely for 1. And see, what happens is you have baby teeth, right? And normally those roots will start to close up, and then they'll fall out. That's what a normal process is, the baby tooth. And then the permanent teeth will come up right directly underneath them as they dissolve and then take their place. Now, sometimes these baby teeth, which you can see this front row here, in these baby teeth, they don't dissolve, and so they don't come out. And so instead of this tooth coming in up underneath it, it gets deflected in one way or the other. Now, if it gets deflected in front, you get those things called snaggle tooths, where they come out in the front of the tooth, which is kind of weird. But in her case, it deflected back behind and ended up coming up a whole row behind the other teeth. So what do you do in this position? Well, it's actually a lot easier than you think. You would just have these 4 baby teeth removed here in the front, and then the back teeth with her tongue over time would probably just push forward. And so in this case, because it's on the lower, I really wouldn't do much other than just pull those baby teeth and leave her for 6 months to 12 months and see what happens. My guess is the tongue of her pushing will start to push those teeth forward and get them back in a better area. Now, eventually when she's 11 or 12, she's probably gonna have to go into full braces and get everything fixed. We're already seeing some wonkiness going on up top. So there's definitely something going on that we would probably need to fix with braces and true orthodontics around 11 or 12. But for now, we would just remove those teeth and then let it all self-correct on its own. And look at this first comment right here. We said, I had this growing up. They used to laugh at me. Thankfully, when my front teeth got removed, they shifted in place. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you just take them out there, more than likely your body will shift them into place. We actually see this with the people with tongue thrusts when they swallow as kids with their tongue through the middle and they end up going way out here. All we do is we put a little guard on there so that they can't do that anymore, and the lips and tongues just push it all right back once you start swallowing properly. So, I mean, you can reset a lot of problems. I mean, your body is literally built in to fix these issues with proper mechanics and stuff like that. It happened to me. My mother tied me up and unplugged them. Let's not do that, I don't think. That sounds like abuse, not gonna lie. And someone said, I'm sorry, why are people blaming the parents? I'm lost. I didn't see any blaming of the parents there. But yeah, as a parent, if you've seen this, there's nothing you did wrong. It's just naturally the occurrence of stuff and the baby teeth just came in the wrong spot. You're at a dentist. Guess what? The dentist is now telling you what you need to do to fix it. I don't see any issues here. I don't know. Maybe somebody can clue me in on that one. Either way, it still looks pretty gnarly, doesn't it? Please tell me I'm not the only one who had these flexible retainers. Wait, what? Girl? I hate to tell you this. That's not a retainer. Yeah, I mean, looking at it from the front, that is what we call a whitening tray. Okay, so you make this flexible little whitening tray that's got these little pockets in the front there, and you put your little hydrogen peroxide gel in there and you can slide it on there. There's a specific material that we make for the purpose of just whitening, basically. That's not gonna straighten or hold anything as a retainer because, well, it's not strong enough. You see, there's actually special plastics, and Invisalign went through a ton of work to basically get their plastic made with theirs. And you know, even retainers have a different plastic as well. It's a little thicker to hold versus move things. If you've been wearing that as your retainer for the past long time, I hate to tell you this, it has not been retaining anything. Now, as a whitening tray, yeah, it does pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, that's funny, she said, as a dental student, that's a whitening tray. The hard plastic one is the retainer. I'm sorry if you've been wearing this for a long time and wondering why your teeth have been shifting after braces, because, well, that's not gonna do anything. And someone said, coming from the daughter of a dental assistant, it sounds like they might have accidentally given you whitening trays. You put the spacey stuff in them and say in 1 hour, if you go back, tell them their mistake. And then she said, the problem is my brother got one too, so we might change orthodontist. You know, sometimes when you're done with braces, we give you both, because guess what you wanna do once your braces are off? Most people want to whiten their teeth, and so if you paid for whitening after your treatment is done, you're going to get a retainer, which is the hard plastic one, and then you get a whitening tray to whiten your teeth. And now some people actually whiten in their retainers, and that's a whole nother theory, and that's actually not a bad deal too. I mean, the whitening trays are made so they can fill little pockets of gel there on purpose. But yeah, so maybe I'm guessing there was just probably a mix-up somewhere, and maybe they didn't educate you as good as they should have, which does unfortunately happen with doctors sometimes. Although, I don't know, maybe there is a soft retainer out there I don't know about. Maybe another doctor or orthodontist can chime in here and let me know. Maybe I've missed something. Maybe we have a new soft retainer out there that I don't know about, which very well could be a possibility. Oh, great. Bedazzling my bestie's stuff until she realizes, oh no, you bedazzled the holly. Wait, did you bedazzle it on the inside too, or just the outside? Please tell me you didn't do it on the inside too. Oh my gosh, she did. She ruined it. Okay, so obviously, yeah, that's not gonna work out very good. So one, because you know, well, you're gonna have super glue up on your mouth and it's gonna be whatever. Now, if she would have just bedazzled one side of it, it still could have seated in place, and it still could have worked even though you're not supposed to put super glue in your mouth, you know. But the second she bedazzled the inside of it, well, that's where it fits up against your teeth and the shape of your mouth, and if you get stuff on there, well, guess what? It's not gonna fit anymore. So basically, instead of bedazzling your bestie's stuff, you just ruined 250 bucks, you know, on one of these, because these things are actually more expensive to make than the clear retainers are. And if you guys don't know what this is because you've never seen one of these before, this is an old school type of retainer called a holly retainer. We don't really use these anymore. anymore. It's really just older school, orthodontists from the 70s that, made these that still never want to change and they're still using it. There is some use cases for them, but it's pretty rare. Most of the time, those clear retainers are your best bet with retainers. But still, either one retainer, you're not supposed to be bedazzling. Someone's going to get sued. Why we got to go to suing everybody for everything right out of the first gate? Maybe not. Let's just have let's have a conversation first, okay? And someone said, these are so expensive though, and $100 some gone in the trash. And yeah, I mean, exactly. That's like minimum $150 gone, just toast. That's funny. Someone said, girl, no, it's gonna hurt more than it did before. And she's right. You try and put that in your mouth, you are gonna cut yourself up and it is going to feel terrible because it's not gonna fit your mouth anymore. But I don't know, let me know what you would do if your bestie did this to your retainer. I don't know, I would be very upset because my mom would be backhanding me upside the face and telling me I owe her $250. So, yeah. Ears with braces scheduled for removal. What? Scheduled for removal? Okay, so first off, I'm gonna pause it here. It looks like we've got a really big issue with the front 4 teeth being super flared out, and we do see this a ton. But before I talk about it, let's see what else is going on, because that is wild that they're gonna take it off. It looks like she's got bite issues. She's got teeth out of alignment. Let's see here. 3 years scheduled for removal. Oh my gosh. And she said, oh my goodness, no. She says waste of money, tired, period, 3 years. Ugh. This is unfortunately an occurrence we see all the time. And in fact, we have a ton of people that come into our office and we have to fix this exact issue. So what's causing it, Bentist? Well, the thing that's causing this is because, well, you have crowded teeth, right? And those crowded teeth have to go somewhere. And when you uncrowd teeth, something happens. And those teeth go like this, and they uncrowd to be flared out if they need to be. If there's too much crowding, they have to go somewhere, they get flared out. Now, back in the day, the way that we dealt with this was we removed 4 teeth, and then we pulled those teeth back into those gaps. The problem is we only used about 1/4 of that space, and then the rest we had to pull everybody's teeth fast, causing their lips and cheeks to go backwards, giving them a poor profile in most people. Now, luckily for you guys, now we have ways to do this, and unfortunately, her orthodontist did not know what it is, but that is actually called IPR, our interproximal reduction. This is basically where we polish between the teeth, and we get enough space. So if she's super flared out, we have some more space, and then we go ahead and pull that back. We do some more space, we pull it back until we get to the levels of perfectness that we're looking for. Unfortunately, there is tons of orthodontists that are still in the 70s and 80s when they got their dental degree. They never learned anything new. They're like 60, 70 years old. They're still practicing today, and they still take teeth out on everybody. And if they don't take teeth out on everybody, well, this is exactly what happens, because they don't want to use the new brackets and wires, and they don't want to use IPR, interproximal reduction. Let's see what the comments have to say. And it says, this is why make sure they are an orthodontist. That's the truth, because we do see dentists doing this on accident. And don't agree or taking anything off unless you're satisfied. These doctors work for you, and that's actually totally true here. Now, there obviously are some weird cases where people are just going wild and everything like that. But in this case, she's totally right. If you are not happy, say what you need. And then if it basically is something egregious like this, where they know another doctor is going to be like, what the heck is this doctor doing? They're probably going to give you a refund or something, because that's pretty wild to be 3 years, still have crazy bad work like this if there's not a reason behind it, which there very well could be. We don't know, but still, yeah, big deal. Someone said, girl, please sue the dentist, sue everyone, heck, even sue me. Now, I wouldn't go too far to sue. Maybe if the dentist is like, bro, I'm not gonna help you out at all. Like, if this was me and I knew it was just a mess up on my part and I just could not figure it out, there was nothing I could do, then yeah, I would probably offer you your braces for free and just be like, I'm sorry, we tried our best. But that wouldn't happen, because we would do the actual right thing and fix it. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you go to someone who did this? Or maybe you should just go to an orthodontist and just get actual treatment from a certified specialist in craniofacial growth and development. Okay, what we got here? Point of view, you just got braces. What is she doing? What the heck is she doing? She says, and I'm pregnant and I can only use Tylenol. Oh, I get it. It's a frozen smoothie or something. Now, first I was like, what the heck is going on? Okay, so a couple things about this. She's on the right track of something a lot of people don't know about braces, and that's actually that they're heat and cold activated, which is really important. But two, the only issue here that I see is I'm assuming this is probably a sugary beverage, or like a smoothie of some type or something like that. And unfortunately, if you're just coating your teeth with sugar stuff like this and just trying to get it everywhere on purpose, you have a risk of getting these little white spots or decalcification areas, which will turn into cavities. You don't want that. So one, obviously you don't need to do this. If you want to do this correctly, what you would do is you would get some ice water, okay? And then you would get that ice water, you would get it in your mouth, and you would just swish it around, and what that would do would get the ice water all over that wire. Now, what is this gonna do? Well, nickel titanium wires that we use in braces are heat activated. Now, basically when they're cold, they can be moved about because they have no pressure, but then the warmth of your mouth activates them and causes them to move the teeth. So if you get them cold, it actually deactivates the wire for about 10 to 15 minutes and gives your body some relief from the pressure of that wire that's putting on. That's why we actually tell people if they want to get some ice cream, you know, if they're hurting in the first week or two of braces, it's probably not a bad idea if they want to, but obviously a safer way that's safer for your teeth is just some ice water and swish it around. Someone said braces literally don't even hurt. Now the fun fact is it depends for different people. If you don't have a ton of movements and a ton of crowdingness and you're pretty straight, well, you're not going to have a lot of movement, so you're not going to have a lot of soreness. If you have a ton of crowding and it's got to move crazy, then you're going to have a lot more soreness everywhere. So it's going to be different for each person depending on what they got going on. And someone actually got it wrong here and said cold tightens the metal, just letting you know. And that's actually not true. It actually loosens it up and causes it to decrease in its strength of pressure against your teeth. So actually the opposite of what this girl thinks. She's actually doing the right thing by getting it cold if you want some temporary pain relief. Now, if you want them to move as fast as possible, avoid cold things so that pressure is staying on your teeth for as long as possible. And then look, we got some voice of reason here. Sugar directly on your teeth with braces on. Braces just trapping some of that smoothie for later. And like I said, it can get to cavities and that's not something you want. So maybe just stick with the ice water. I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, apparently AI.
Your hand can only do 300 strokes a minute. I do 30,000. My vibrations shatter tartar that manual brushing can't touch.
First off, manual toothbrush works as good as an electric toothbrush if you know what you're doing.
Hi, I'm a tongue scraper. 90% of bad breath comes from that white coating on your tongue. Brushing just moves it around, and I actually physically remove it.
Actually, do agree with that. The tongue scraper is a much better way than just brushing your tongue. It's like a shag carpet, right? So you want to be able to get the stuff off instead of just swishing it around in there.
Hi, I'm Therapeutic Mouthwash. Brushing and flossing still leave bacteria on your cheeks and tongue. I'm the tidal wave that swoops in to sanitize the rest.
Pretty close. The bacteria is actually a thing that causes it. P. gingivalis is a big one. It causes the volatile sulfur compounds. And so using a mouthwash or something can help with that. But actually, our Zero Pro is the only thing in the entire world that actually directly attacks P. gingivalis.
We're oral probiotic. Your mouth needs good bacteria to fight the bad ones that cause gum disease.
It does.
Hi, we are fluoride. Every time you eat sugar, it attacks your enamel. We are the reinforcement armor that rebuilds your teeth harder than they were before.
It's actually not sugar that eats it, it's the sugar that feeds the bacteria. The bacteria eat it. Fluoride can strengthen it up, you're very correct, but nanohydroxyapatite is what actually fills those holes back.
Not dental floss. Your brush misses 40%. Bacteria hide in the gaps. He is the only way to evict them.
It's true, I like the dental floss.
I'm hydrogen peroxide. I'm a bleaching agent that dives deep inside the tooth structure to break apart stubborn, deep-set
It's actually true, the hydrogen peroxide cleans inside.
I'm hydrogen peroxide.
Toothpaste only cleans the surface.
I dive deep to bleach stubborn stains.
Ooh, from the inside out.
I definitely didn't think I was going to be getting educated by AI today, but actually it did a pretty good job. I can't be too mad about it. And then F said the same thing, not gonna lie, I think AI is useful. I don't know, it's a weird world out there. Let me know what you guys think about AI down below.
So niggas start playing with this shit, man.
These are braces?
Oh, yeah. This ain't the regular ones, nigga. Yeah!
God dang, that's actually clean, I'm not gonna lie. So the brackets, if you zoom in on them, are actually like baguette diamonds. And then the wire is like a freaking tennis chain on his teeth. If you pause it where you can kind of see it right here on the back right side, you can actually see a little metal piece that goes up over the tooth there. So my guess is maybe these are removable. I was trying to figure out if they were permanent or removable. They could be actually removable. I'm not too sure. I'm not gonna lie, this is actually really crazy, and it reminds me of a time that Lil Uzi Vert, actually shout out Lil Uzi, I hope you're doing well out there, brother, actually contacted me because he wanted me to come to his record studio in Atlanta and put braces on him. And I asked him, I was like, okay, what are you trying to get out of it? He was like, no, I don't want them to actually move my teeth at all. I just want them because I like the way they look. And actually at that time, I did talk to him about doing some type of removable grill that had the braces on there, but he never went through with it. So this is actually, I mean, he did actually get the braces on, he just never did the removable braces grill. So this is the first time I've actually seen somebody actually do a braces grill, and it's actually pretty fire. I'm not even gonna lie, that thing is clean. I don't know, I feel like I should get some braces grills. Maybe this guy should hit me up and let me get some myself. I'm imagine me having great braces go, that would go pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie, like Bentist with grills, just saying, it would be pretty cool. Captain Crunch said, let's not forget who did it first. Wait, did he get grill? He got braces, grills too? I didn't know he got grills. And then he said, Soldier Boy finna be mad. And then Gap says, wait, I'm gonna show my orthodontist this. Yo, I'm already ahead of you. How do we get diamond braces out here? I already seen that. They have some gold braces if you guys didn't know about that. Not a lot of people carry them, but there is gold braces. But diamond braces? That's a different level. That's right. That guy's rich. He's rich. I'm not rich because I spent all my money on my company and all this toothpaste and stuff. I didn't get no braces, grills out of it, but here nor there. People with braces after I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. You know, I never really noticed that, but that totally is something that happens. I know people out there that have had braces. Trust me, I've had braces twice, probably about to go into a third time for Invisalign for my grinding issues I've got because, you know, I never stop grinding, if you know what I mean. But I do remember definitely doing this. Every time, like, you get your lips over it, you got like, and that's actually a side effect of braces. When you have braces on, it actually pushes your lips out a little bit more, gives you that plump feeling in the lips. And sometimes when we take braces off, you know, your lips fall back a little bit. And sometimes girls are a little upset because they're like, man, my lips aren't as full as they were with braces. Cliff says, I had braces. We did do that because sometimes our lips will get stuck with braces. Very good. Very good. I'm glad you got that. Oh, there we go. Or when I wake up in the morning, I gotta unstick my mouth from the braces. When you like peel a stick, like the little like cling film off of a new technology piece, but you're doing it. Yeah, I remember that. Conan said, memory unlocked. Yeah, exactly. I was like, there's gotta be something else though. What am I missing? What are some other braces habits that you guys know? I know there's something out there. Okay, you tag me in this. Oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? Grateful for my journey. The glow up is real. I don't see it. Oh. Wow, that's actually really good. This is great. I love this. Let's go back to the beginning and let's pause it. So what are we seeing here? Wow. Okay, so this is what happens when you don't brush and take care of your teeth over a long period of time. This is great to actually see. So all that dark area below the teeth is actually the root of the teeth. And actually, that's where the bone normally covers it. Now, if you don't brush or floss, and specifically if you have the certain bacteria that cause this, which is P. gingivalis and the red triad, and then obviously strep mutans is for cavities and stuff, but this specifically is P. gingivalis and gum disease bacteria, that bone is gonna get irritated and dissolve away. And then what you're gonna be left with is teeth kind of dangling about over here with a lot of calculus, a lot of bone loss, and then eventually they're just so wiggly they could just get moved out of here. And so if you look here, you can really see all of that bone loss. She could probably go and grab that one right here in the middle and just wiggle it and pull it out with her fingers without even having to go to a dental office. That's how loose I bet you most of these teeth in the front are. And so what she did was, it looks like she got dental implants. So now what happened is, we'll go ahead and go and look. Full bite, looks awesome. My guess is she did a full mouth extraction. They probably pulled every single one of her teeth, top to bottom. And then what they did was an all-on-4, which is where they put like 4 implants on the top and 4 implants in the bottom, and then they put your dentures that pop in and snap directly there. So these teeth that you're seeing are fake. The gum that you're seeing is actually fake as well. But those implants, if you guys don't know, if you don't have teeth and you never replace them with something, well, that bone will just dissolve over time. You'll look like the Eagle Wicked Witch of the West because your bone dissolved. And that's why old ladies, their nose gets closer to their chin over time, because their bone is dissolving. But the implants actually completely and totally get rid of that problem, because they activate the bone and allow that bone to stay. And so that's why she has a pretty smile that's going to last her a really long time now, which is actually awesome. Mar said, that is some scary periodontal disease. You must take the best care of your implants. That is actually true, because people with periodontal disease, if you get implants and you're not taking care of it, and you have a high load of that bacteria, that P. gingivalis, it actually can cause those implants to fail and cause a lot of problems. That's actually why we invented Zero Pro. We're the first and only company in the world to use a biotech nanolipid particle. It's the first time ever in the history of oral care that you can directly target the specific bacteria that cause oral disease. And so what we actually target is strep mutans, which is the main cause of cavities, and P. gingivalis, which is the main cause of gum disease. Because a lot of the times they can clean, I mean, she probably wasn't cleaning, but you can clean and still get gum disease if you have high levels of P. gingivalis. And so by taking ours, I actually reduced my own P. gingivalis by 99.9% in only 8 days of using our biotech nanolipid product, which is crazy. She would have absolutely loved this, because the periodontal disease is caused by the bacteria first. It's the main problem. And actually, she says she didn't neglect her teeth, so that concern doesn't apply to her, which means she could be one of those people, because there are people that just don't brush their teeth ever and they never get cavities or periodontal disease because they don't have those 2 bacteria at high levels in their mouth. There's some people that take care of their teeth like crazy and still get the disease and still get cavities because they have those high levels of bacteria. bacteria. But luckily, for the first time ever, you can actually now get rid of those bacteria, which is a huge, huge deal. Rayleigh says, how does this happen? Well, regardless of what she says she got into, normally it happens from dental neglect. You don't clean, you don't brush your teeth. You may brush your teeth really well and you just never floss. And so that calculus and that buildup gets in there, that plaque turns to calculus, that hard calculus, and then you never go to the dental office. You never get the scaling and cleaning. That cycle rinses and repeats and the bone dissolves, more stuff fills up the holes, the bone dissolves, more plaque and calculus fill the holes, and then eventually you have no bone left and your teeth are just wiggling about. And even more so in people with way crowded teeth. Alright, we got new method, brushing your teeth without rinsing. Wait, what was that? Okay, what? You know, people will just have any excuse to just not brush their teeth. But there is two interesting things about this that you probably don't think about. Because one, you know, traditionally the toothpaste was meant to just strengthen the teeth using fluoride. The main action is actually to remove the bacteria. The bacteria is the main problem. And the way that we got it off was mechanical removal of that plaque biofilm until, well, later that day, the bacteria rebuilds it up and then you brush it at night and then it builds up at night and then you brush it in the morning and then it builds up during the day and you brush it at night and then over and over and over again for the rest of your entire life. But the mechanical act was actually probably more important than the fluoride itself. The fluoride just strengthened the teeth to make the bacteria have a little harder time getting inside of it. So I'm wondering if in this bag method that he does, if he's getting enough mechanical action with brushing between the bag to actually get rid of the plastic. It probably doesn't work that good, to be honest, and we all know this is stupid, but it's still interesting to think that the mechanical removal is actually the important part. Is he getting enough mechanical removal? Maybe. And two is the fact that obviously he's not getting any toothpaste on his teeth. A lot of people don't know this, but you're not supposed to rinse your mouth out after you brush. In the same way he's not getting any toothpaste in his mouth here, you're probably also not getting any toothpaste on your mouth if you're someone who brushes your teeth like crazy and then immediately rinses out with water. Let's just picture this here. You want to go out to the beach, and so you lather yourself with sunscreen, okay? This would be like you immediately take a shower after putting on sunscreen and then going outside, right? If you rinse your mouth out with water, or if you brush yourself with a plastic bag like this, both of them are basically doing the exact same thing. So you guys laughing thinking this guy's stupid when you're really the stupid one who's rinsing your mouth out after brushing your teeth. It's basically the same thing. And to answer your question, yes, you're supposed to leave it on there. You're supposed to just spit out what you have excess in your mouth and leave it for a minimum of about 30 minutes because you want whatever you're using to protect your teeth. Fluoride, if it's a fluoride toothpaste, nanohydroxyapatite, if it's nanohydroxyapatite, our new biotech that's actually killing the oral disease problems, the bacteria for the first part. It needs time on your teeth to do what it's supposed to do. And if you just rinse it out, it's not going to be doing what you wanted to do. It would work better if you wear that bag when eating and drinking. That teeth will never get dirty. That's actually a good point. Oh my gosh, these pictures, people like small. Wow. Okay. All right. This comment section is a little too spicy for me, so we'll probably just move on then. But seriously, don't do this. All right, you guys tagged me, and this one said, look at this little kitty having dental issues. Oh, yeah, that's actually something we see quite a bit. If it's an animal dental related emergency, is a lot of the times if they have an underbite or they have an issue like this where a tooth is in the way, it's gonna stab inside the gum tissue and they can't close their mouth. So you can see that she has heavy bad periodontal disease, and if you see that big abscess glob there, so he's just gonna pull that tooth because it's basically gone, and it probably, that cat needs an entire cleaning as well because you can see how bad it is here in the back. You know, it's probably from a soft food diet only. A lot of these cats need hard food still to be able to clean teeth. Like, that's completely wrecked. And basically it just shows that this cat is not eating any, like, it probably has a really bad, you know, bacteria levels in his mouth that's causing a lot. That cat is zonked, bro. The cat is like, I mean, it's cool to see, you know, animals and dentists doing dental things because we forget sometimes that we're not the only people in the world, okay? Humans aren't the only people with teeth. The dogs have teeth, cat has teeth. And guess what? That periodontal disease, that bacteria is going in their mouth into the bloodstream. And a lot of people don't know this. This bacteria is causing problems all the time. That's why we created the first ever biotech toothpaste in the entire world. It's the only toothpaste in the entire world that directly uses nanolipid technology to attack the bacteria that cause oral disease. Ours specifically target two bacteria, Strep mutans and P. gingivalis. Those bacteria not only in the mouth, they travel through the bloodstream to your entire body. We're finding P. gingivalis in your brain for Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and all that, finding Strep mutans and heart and other problems like that. So it's not just like their teeth that you're letting get hurt, it's your entire body or your animal's entire body. So it is a pretty big deal that you want to be able to solve it. And so it's cool seeing other people do this.